guilty of crime.
And you're back, Sadie's mama. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good to see you. Come on in. I'm your host, Jay, with Guilty of Crime, and we're back. Happy Thursday, y'all. Come on in. You got that right. Sebastian Rogers, missing. How many days? 872 days. There is new information today, guys. Come on in. Let me say hello to everybody, and then we'll get going. Good to see you. David just popped in the house. How you doing? Pam's been lingering in there. Good to see you. Libra Cole, Sadie's mama, big hug. Cuffy's here. Foxy's here. Lady for Justice and her son are here. Liv Wade, Kel, Mama Sage, Cooling Chris, my girl Tiff, Husky Lover, Shadow. And if I miss anyone, I'm just scrolling through saying hello to everybody. Before we get started, I just want to have a universal prayer for my friend's 11-year-old niece, guys. She went missing last night. I just got a phone call when I was getting ready for this episode. 11 years old. Her screen was cut from her bedroom into the room, and she was gone. Cell phone went with her, last pinging at an apartment complex at 1 a.m. But what worries me the most, guys, is that she's 11 years old. Okay, so I'm going to keep updates on that. I gave my friend the best upbeat conversation that I can. It hasn't been 24 hours yet. When it becomes that, then we need to step in and help a bit more. I think just her calling me helped because she didn't even know that she can go on her social media and find out the last thing she was searching, what she clicked on, who she's talking to. But instead, she turned it over to law enforcement. And we know how long it takes law enforcement. So when I have more details, I will let you know. All she told me was that they put it up on their local Facebook page. And I am impatiently waiting. So when I know more, I'll definitely share it with you. Right now, just say a prayer that they find her and that this is all just some 11-year-old thing that she decided to be a jerk and go hang out. It's just not typical of an 11-year-old. So when she said 11, it threw me off, but I didn't want to worry her as much as she's worried because she's already thinking of the worst. All right, guys. So come on in. This is what we do here, right? We say prayers. We put awareness out there for these victims, and we talk amongst ourselves about these cases. And today, guys, Sebastian Rogers has been missing 872 days. His dad, Seth Rogers, is suing the sheriff and DCS, Child Protective Services, for ignoring the warning signs before Sebastian disappeared. Okay, so today, guys, this is not a debate for me. All right, this case is not a debate, and I don't have a side. I'm Team Sebastian. That's it. There's no green team, no gray team, no team. We're Team Guilty of Crime, and we're here for Sebastian Rogers to put out what was out there. So if anybody has, anybody comes in today and is like trying to, don't talk about Katie like that. Y'all know my narrative. I've been covering this case since it happened shortly after. Now, listen, Sebastian went missing the same day that Madeline Soto went missing. The only difference is Madeline Soto's body turned up 5 days later. All right. And there you have it. Stephen Stern's facing multiple life sentences, and Jen Soto's walking around free. Now we have Sebastian Rogers missing 872 days, inconsistent stories from the parents. Now, this isn't about the parents. It's about Seth suing, which I'm going to get into. However, they did not want to make a statement at all. And the only things that they've done is put out a lot of red flags and inconsistent statements. Okay, so again, we're Team Sebastian. You could be Team Seth. I'm not about that. I'm about for the victim. Seth is a victim. And in my opinion, they would be too if there weren't so many red flags and inconsistencies. All right, you got to remember the bedtime change from 9 to 10. We heard the thud, an alarm confusion, but Katie has worked at an alarm place but didn't have an alarm. Door locked open. Then she says that Sebastian just walked out. She wished he hadn't walked out, but then that later on changes. All right, moved out. What parent moves out just weeks later, claiming we've passed all the polygraph tests but never seen one? Last 2 years, nothing but contradictions. And I'm not just going to tell you about it. I'm going to tell you what they are. We're going to break all that down today. All right. Timeline conflicts, odd behavior, contradicting interviews, and simply just no other evidence from the person that last saw her son alive and allegedly walking out of a door that night. All right. So we're still waiting to find Sebastian. I can't in good conscience say I think he's going to walk in somebody's door one day, because I don't. All right. I don't. I think that we're looking for a body at this point, and we will be very lucky if we can find Sebastian and bring him home in any way that we can. Yeah, he doesn't just disappear. All right. It's a huge mess. Now, listen, Mimi, the only attention that Sebastian has been getting is that from the trauma sector and all bad things. Bullhorn Betty, I'm going to talk about that. She's suing Chris and Katie. What the hell's this case is just people are trying to grab for money. They're cutthroating each other and just using it as content instead of trying to get Sebastian back. So let's get into it. The epitome of nonsense, working for an alarm company, but no alarm. And the last person to see her son alive, yet she lets that man that allegedly punched him in the stomach one time and alerted CPS to be her voice. So what brought this about, guys? You can see the document there. I don't have a case number yet. If you guys have it, let me know. I can look it up in Tennessee. However, what brought this about? Well, we just found out that just 3 days before Sebastian disappeared, Katie canceled Sebastian's doctor appointment, and that was supposed to be a mental health appointment. Canceled it, gone. Then, after Chris Proudfoot allegedly struck Sebastian with his fist in the stomach, all right, sheriff's office was already part of the child protective team investigating alleged abuse allegations involving Sebastian. Now, had that happened anywhere else, had I been here in San Jose and I had a CPS case and I did all these things like move out and go on these weird channels and say the craziest of things, you guys would be looking at me too. All right. You would be looking at me too. So that's what this is about. Seth feels like there's no justice that's been done. His son isn't there, and the world keeps churning. So what validity does he have? I don't know. What chance does he have to win? I don't know. Innocent until proven guilty. If we can find that CPS and the sheriff's office did either nefarious things or lack the things that Sebastian needed. And Seth, cool. And Chris, good to see you, my friend. How you doing? I tan a kid 35 years ago. I still apologize to my mom because how upset she got. You tan a kid? Oh, you ran away as a kid. Yeah, I mean, you know how it is now. He was supposed to go live with his father the day after, but I had never heard about Chris punching him in the stomach and being a CPS report and canceling a doctor's appointment, which she's trying to sneak out of, by the way, and say, you can't prove that. But you can prove that, because if law enforcement was looking into it, they would be able to get records from a doctor's office to say that he had an appointment and it was canceled. Andrea, good to see you. Lisa, good to see you. Always a pleasure. Jinx. All right, guys, do me a favor. Come on in. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Get a membership if you can. I'll be gifting memberships also later on today. All right, so let's get into it. There's a lot today. I did have another case I was covering, but I had to jump on this before, I didn't get a chance to. Shadow, good to see you. Happy birthday month, everybody. If you're a Cancer, happy birthday. If you're rolling into the Leo season, happy birthday. All right, Rocco, Rose, meandering on in, cuff you. All right, guys, let's just get into it. How about that? Let me start with this one. I'm going to move that and just give you the basics. All right. Now I'm going to start with this because all in one, Seth Rogers files 2 federal lawsuits. And this is the 1,000-foot overview of the 2 federal lawsuits against the sheriff's office and DCS. And we're going to talk about it and show you the proof today, along with the red flags, interviews, etc.
Hey guys, so just a few minutes ago, I posted how At Night released a statement basically saying that they are no longer accepting tips when it comes to Sebastian Rogers' case.
And I'm okay with that about At Night, because At Night has been kind of questionable this entire time. Everybody seems to have checkered pasts and shady dealings, and they don't understand why those people are so attracted to these cases. All right, Edith, good to see you, my friend. Murnam, happy birthday on July 21st. Mine's July 25th. Happy birthday month. If you're a Leo, you like celebrating like you like your mane. All right. And yes, go Seth. Again, we're just getting to it today. What's happening? I'm going to give you facts. And of course, you already know my opinion and my stance on this case, but that's not what it's about today. It's about bringing Sebastian home. And if this lawsuit helps to bring awareness and to maybe recover his body or make somebody held accountable, then let's do that. All right.
And they are now no longer searching, but they are now going to the case review, which is their final involvement piece in this case. Well, Seth Rogers this morning actually ended up filing a federal lawsuit against both the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and the Tennessee Department of Children's Services, accusing both agencies of failing his son before his February 2024 disappearance and during the investigation that followed. This lawsuit marks the first formal public challenge by Sebastian's biological father over how officials handled his son's welfare and his son's disappearance. The case could potentially lead to the release of investigative records that reportedly include allegations of both physical and verbal abuse inflicted upon Sebastian by way of his mom and or step.
Now, guys, I gotta tell you, we've heard these rumors from the beginning and nothing's come of them. I've never seen any documentation, right? Nobody's ever been a person of interest that we've heard of. And therefore, I believe that they've only gone as far as to briefly check an alibi. Okay, yeah, Chris was there. Yeah. We know Seth was working in the he was working at the jail that day. Some people debate that. No need FBI if not already. All right, let's continue.
Stepfather, internal communications, child welfare documents, and sworn testimony from law enforcement and DCS officials as they move through federal court. After more than 870 days without answers, Seth Rogers says that his focus still remains on finding his son, despite all of these agencies stepping away and no longer focusing on him. He says, quote, "I need my son home. There's nothing else." Now, one lawsuit names the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Eric Craddock, and Detective Brandon Carter, alleging investigators mishandled the missing person case from the beginning. The complaint alleges that authorities failed to properly secure the home as a potential crime scene, failed to follow key leads, and did not dedicate enough resources to finding Sebastian.
I mean, do you see what's happening? Again, we don't know what's going to happen with this. Many times when you have a lawsuit against big government agencies and, well, frankly, law enforcement, it doesn't go too good for you. So I don't know what's going to happen of this. But yes, that's why we're talking today, because Sebastian's dad did file these paperworks already. It's in the works, and everything we're talking about today is happening from, this week and on. It's moving not in quite the direction that any one of us would like, but at least we can get some more awareness about Sebastian and hopefully not too many people arguing, because really, I don't understand what the argument is. Find Sebastian, bring him home. Until then, everything's on the table.
Sebastian. The second lawsuit targets the Tennessee Department of Children's Services, alleging the agency failed to protect Sebastian despite 2 previous investigations involving the teenager that were later closed by them. The complaint named several DCS officials, including Commissioner Margie Quinn, a caseworker, a supervisor, and a team leader. Seth says that these lawsuits are about more than the unanswered question of what happened the night that Sebastian disappeared, but he also believes that they're about whether opportunities were missed by agencies responsible for protecting and finding his son. He says, quote, "So he was failed by both of them. My son wasn't protected. My son wasn't found. It makes you want to sleep, but it's a nightmare." So hopefully this federal investigation brings out some more answers and uncovers the truth possibly as to what happened to Sebastian and by the hands of whom. Fingers crossed. And if not that, at least hold these people accountable for failing to do their jobs properly so that more people, more children, more families are not failed by these individuals and failed by their departments in the future. Hey guys, so just a few minutes ago, I posted how At Night released a...
All right, so there you go. There's your 1,000-foot view. All right, now let's take a look at some of these things. Edith, thank you for being a member for 13 months. MM Clar, big hugs to you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the $1.99 super sticker. All right, let's take a look at this real quick. And Sebastian Rogers, Seth Rogers, his father. These images are from the WSMVR broadcast, which we're going to go over, several of them, used during the package illuminating a few of the charges contained in the complaint. Now, Attorney Ritchie says they're going after Sumner County at this time. And guys, they're not pointing the fingers at the Proudfoots or Proud Feet, however you say that. No pointing fingers at the Proudfoot parents, I guess. I feel like they left something off. So we're not pointing the finger at them, but we will talk about the role that they played and how this has gone so far as it has, and as much as there's sides now. And I mean, people are literally pissed off right now, running a stream about this and calling Seth the worst of the worst names. All right. So again, this is a big thing. Allegedly, Katie canceled Sebastian's doctor's appointment just 3 days before he vanished. All right. I don't know why they're disputing that and saying, prove it, because it's easy to prove. Then we heard about the abuse with Sebastian and possible wearing diapers and mental abuse. I didn't know that they alleged that Chris Proudfoot had struck him in the stomach with his fist. I didn't know that, but I guess it's all going to come out. All right. So then we also got the Child Protective Services. That investigation just stopped. You would think that if there was a child that had a case against them and the parents, they would look further into it, right? Common sense, but that just didn't happen. Foxy Amazon, thank you for the Guilty of Crime membership. Guys, if you received that membership, please thank Foxy. Cool and Chris, his case is so sad. He looks like such a sweetie. I also hope you have a happy birthday. Well, thank you. It's birthday month, so if I have one bad day, well, guess what? I still have the rest of the month. All right? Thank you, Cool and Chris. I appreciate you. So this is what is sparking this up. All right? And he does. It's the wildest thing because the father does have the right to exercise his rights to make people accountable. But why? What is the motivation from the people that are disputing this, that have no skin in this game? They're not out searching for him. They've done nothing but rack up the money by talking shit about everybody and anybody. What is their motivation in bashing Seth? I just can't believe that. Had marks of abuse on his body, so doctor can't see it. That's a possibility. And we never found his body, so we simply don't know. Hey, Ray Hansen, happy birthday, July. You got that birthday month. Agreed, MM Clark. And seriously, with all seriousness, whether you are whether you think that Katie and Chris had a part in this or you don't, what mother would move away from her son that never came home? You're going to take your last breath looking for him, but you're not even there if he were to come back? It just doesn't make sense to me. And then you look at the different interviews that have been had by the parents on these YouTube channels that have zero to no exposure on them, but they won't give an interview to law enforcement that's asking about Sebastian being missing for all these days, and they don't want to answer to any of this. Why no alarm? Why is there secret footage or no footage? Is there footage? Was Chris filming or not? Were they monitoring his food or not? But we're not going to hear that. Change their phone number, right? I'm telling you, I just can't understand what skin in the game the people have that are bashing Seth. What is it? What are they gaining out of this? And what is it that they think? All right. So we're going to take a look at this. 2.5 years, no arrest, no suspects. Tennessee father described as nightmare since teen Sebastian went missing. We're not going to listen to that one yet, but we are going to come to, let's start off with this one. And again, this is all new information. If you haven't seen it, awesome. If you have, then, well, buckle up, buckle in, hit that like button, drop a comment. Let's see about this.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday night. 8:45, we're gearing up for the 10 o'clock newscast. We're coming on here with breaking news here. 870 days after Sebastian Rogers first disappeared. Many of you remember that name. We followed it extensively here on WSMV. His father is now suing the Sumner County Sheriff's Office in federal court. So tonight we have an exclusive interview with Seth Rogers. Asked not just what happened to Sebastian, but what happened to the investigation.
We're continuing to follow breaking news in Sumner County.
Now, this is going to give
Large
us
search is underway.
This is going to give us an overview of everything, and I will play the interview without it interrupting, so to speak. But right now, let's get through this and kind of take a look at what they're referring to and what's really going on.
For a missing teen.
Thousands searched.
There is significant concern tonight.
He was last seen in all black.
Millions watched.
Dog, the bounty hunter, is coming to look for Sebastian.
Everyone had a theory.
What was under that soft soil?
Everyone wanted answers.
He deserves justice.
What happened to 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers? But nearly 2.5 years later, there have been no arrests, no suspects, and no sight of Sebastian.
I need my son home. I need my son home.
From the moment his son went missing, Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, prayed.
It's like God gave me a purpose in life.
Your son was.
And again, they're going to break this up a little as we overview and talk about it. I will come on with a clip after and we'll play the interview and I won't interrupt. But right now it's kind of like present and discuss. That's what I'm saying too. But I guarantee you that any person could hop on here right now and come into my chat and tell us why Seth is so bad or why Chris and Katie are so great. It's the oddest thing. It really is. I agree. They didn't even treat it as an investigation on the criminal side. They treat it as a missing person, and then it's it. He vanished.
Your purpose. And he still is. I just got to find him.
Sebastian disappeared during the overnight hours of February 26, 2024, from the Hendersonville home he shared with his mother, Katie Proudfoot, and her husband, Chris Proudfoot.
He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
At first, Seth.
And again, that's the first time we hear, I don't know why he walked out the door. But then later on, she didn't know that he walked out the door or not. So why are these statements so confusing and so contradictory? Well, we're going to talk about that right after this. Welcome in, Cheeto and Andrea and Kat. How you doing, guys? You guys would look better in green, just saying. All right. I look tired. You look tired. I do. Well, that's not a compliment, Wesley, but thank you. It's Thursday? Is that an excuse?
Says he trusted the investigation, but the idea Sebastian just walked from home alone with no shoes on and without his phone never made sense.
People don't just vanish into thin air.
No, they don't. No matter how I look at it, I just cannot wrap my head around my son walking out of that house.
Sebastian has autism, ADHD, and a rare chromosomal disorder that caused intellectual disabilities. So as hours turn to days and days to weeks, Seth Rogers says his faith in the investigation faded.
And guys, another thing is that they were initially working together with Seth, and then bam, when he wanted to move this further and talk about a criminal investigation, Chris shut this down and said, Katie can't talk to Seth at all. If he needs to talk to Katie, or if he needs to talk to Katie, then he needs to come through me. But prior to Sebastian going missing, all four of them, or well, the three parents, four of them being Sebastian, we're all working together. So what changed from the time that Sebastian went missing until now? Right? What happened? Why didn't Katie call Chris and say your son's missing and tell him what happened, or anyone? Right?
And the question changed. It was no longer where's Sebastian, but what happened to the investigation.
I don't think they put any effort in finding my son anymore.
He says that question is what brought him here, suing the Sumner County Sheriff's Office in federal court, claiming the agency and people that were supposed to find his son failed them both.
Did you think a search that big would find at least one clue?
Would have been nice.
The lawsuit claims Seth Rogers' loss of confidence didn't happen overnight. The complaint claims the case was never adequately staffed and argues that once the massive ground search for Sebastian ended, the investigation began losing momentum. Only one detective was left to follow leads, and there was just one news conference at that point to update the public.
We are exploring every lead that comes in and every tip that comes in.
Making it all worse, according to the lawsuit, the sheriff's office stopped communicating with Seth Rogers, and for the past 18 months, there's been a communications blackout.
And you gotta say you've witnessed for yourself. The last time I covered this, Seth was out there almost by himself, yelling at the sheriff department, and not much else going on. Him single-handedly almost trying to push this onto law enforcement and make a statement to even the freaking people that are in this. Are you going to read the lawsuit filing? If you have the lawsuit filing, I'll read it, but I don't have the lawsuit filing. We are going to talk about it, country bumpkins. I couldn't find the actual lawsuit, but yeah, absolutely. Yes, he did. And that's what we're talking about today, Justice Jane. Right after this, I'll get into the interview with him so we can talk more about it. Yes, it's filed, and that's what brought this about. The whole thing brought about was that he filed a lawsuit.
Is that what it feels like, a blackout?
Yeah. It says a lot when they won't speak to me. To me, it says that they know that they screwed the pooch.
Then the lawsuit asks another question. If the investigation lost steam in the early days, what happened during those first critical hours? Because the complaint claims that's where some of its most serious allegations begin.
And your lawsuit says this investigation, its focus was critically marred from the beginning.
It was dead on arrival. This looks to me like an amateur investigation.
That's Seth Rogers' attorney, Darren Ritchie. The first allegation centers on the home itself. The lawsuit claims investigators never secured the Proudfoot home as a potential crime scene, allowing...
So right now, what's happening is we're going over what pieces of information we have with the lawsuit and breaking that down. So I don't have a number yet. And yeah, I'm sure he'll have it soon. There's no case number on it, so I don't have it yet. But if anyone wants to get it, one of my mods want to get a hold of it, then please do, because many of my mods also go over to Clutch Them Pearls. All right. So yeah, I simply don't have it. I know. I can't believe it's that long. It is, though. Wait until we get into the interview and just talk about all the things before he went missing that aren't accounted for.
Reporters and family members inside before it was fully processed.
That alone from the jump started this on a faulty road.
But the lawsuit says there was something else investigators should have been asking about: home security cameras, because according to the suit, they weren't working the day Sebastian disappeared.
That one day.
Do you have evidence that those security cameras at the home were offline and investigators didn't determine why?
I just know that they have not been able to get any footage from those cameras. I don't know why, but I know that that would have been the first key element of any evidence to collect in this case.
But guys, nobody, and I mean nobody, made it a requirement to do so. They took Chris and Katie's word, and you're going to see in a bit, Chris freaking just called. He called, and he tries to, it's the funniest thing how they talk like people aren't actually really listening. All right. He gets real defensive when someone says, "Did you call 911?" And Chris says, "No, I didn't have to. All I did was reach out to my guy, my person, and it took them 10 minutes to get here." So rather than calling 911 and getting it on dispatch so that we can have multiple people coming and checking, he phoned a friend. And besides phoning a friend, Katie phoned Chris, and Chris phoned a friend. All right. So that from the right out the gate, What's up, Smoky Mountain? Good to see you, my friend. Nana Rux, how you doing? All right, let's continue. So many things, guys. So many red flags. I don't see how this is still just a missing person, no kind of criminal activity, nothing. He just vanished.
The lawsuit argues that should have raised immediate questions because Katie Proudfoot installs and services security cameras for a living. But the suit claims the missed opportunities didn't end there. It also alleges investigators never verified Chris Proudfoot's alibi that he was 3 hours away when Sebastian disappeared.
What evidence says Chris Proudfoot's alibi wasn't verified?
We have looked at the police reports on this matter, and we do not see where they were able to verify his alibi. They may say that the alibi is safe and is accurate, but I don't see the steps that they took to get there.
The complaint also describes an alleged tip from a nurse at Sebastian's doctor's office who claimed Katie Proudfoot canceled an appointment just 3 days.
I don't know why this one is so grainy, guys. It's like blurry. Let me do this. Hold on. And it's funny because the people that are debating this are saying that wrong one. Hold on. People that are debating this are saying prove it. I'm pretty sure it's easily proven. Also, I know there's people out there that say a lot of things about this case, right? And there's nobody that's actually monitoring or taking tips. It's like the search happened and everything went cold. Jed Johnson, welcome. I know. Don't worry. We got our friend Deception Detective here, and we can have a 12-hour marathon with as many red flags, guilty knowledge. And this is not just me like, oh, I'm being a detective here. No, this is real. These are real life. This is real life investigation methods that just simply weren't followed. Sebastian and Maddie got me watching. Me too, Denise. Now, I always watch true crime, but Sebastian and Maddie really got me here on YouTube, that platform. All right, on this particular platform. Let's continue.
An appointment just 3 days before Sebastian vanished.
This has weird
the suit
sound.
claims that lead was never adequately pursued. And it further alleges the sheriff's office was already part of a child protective team looking into abuse allegations involving Sebastian after Chris Proudfoot allegedly struck him in the stomach.
You're suing the sheriff's office, but the complaint at some point sounds like the finger's being pointed at the Proudfoots. Who are you after here?
I am going after the sheriff's department right now.
We also reached out to the Proudfoots. They declined our interview request, but they have never been arrested, never been named suspects, and never been identified as persons of interest in Sebastian's disappearance. And they have repeatedly told WSMV4 they had nothing to do with Sebastian's disappearance.
Yeah, they weren't out there searching. They didn't go to any of the vigils. As a matter of fact, when everyone was doing that, they were out looking at motorcycles and shopping for lizards, all right, or reptiles. Yes, Ray Hansen, the Madeline Soto case, Jay and Maddie with Sebastian. I was covering Madeline Soto, and people said, hey, take a look at the Sebastian case in your downtime. And there we go. I started watching about 2 months after Sebastian went missing, because I'm from Tennessee. Well, I'm glad that you're here. You guys, the best thing you could do is come on in, hit the like button, and drop your comments so we can chat about this case. All right? Indy Isham, good to see you, my friend. Channel 53, it's always a pleasure. All right, let's continue.
Appearance.
How bad does that hurt when people start accusing you? It hurts. It hurts a lot.
For Katie Proudfoot, the pain is being accused.
That looks like it hurts a lot, doesn't it? It hurts. It hurts a lot.
Seth Rogers, the pain is not knowing if everything that should have been done to find Sebastian was.
I want to hug my son. I want to feel his physical presence. I don't want to close my eyes and have these nightmares anymore.
We asked the Sumner County Sheriff's Office for an interview. We haven't heard back. And tonight, there is more. Rogers also filed a second federal lawsuit, this one targeting the Tennessee Department of Children's Services. The suit claims DCS had 2 cases of alleged abuse involving Sebastian, one of them inside the Hendersonville home where he lived.
but never notified his father.
All right, guys, you tell me. You guys tell me if you guys tell me about this case and what you think. Is Seth in the wrong here for doing this? Is he in the wrong for going about this in the way that he is? And do you think there's people still that are out there that think Chris and Katie put Sebastian into a some kind of home? I am drinking Red Bull like normal, the yellow summer edition, since I'm so tired. You look tired, you said. So much corruption. Good to see you. All right. I know. Let's continue. You guys really do think, does anyone still here think that the Proudfoots or whatever the hell, Proud Feet, Happy Feet, does anyone think that they put Sebastian in a home somewhere and are hiding him out? Let me know in chat, because there's people that still believe that he's alive and the parents are hiding him. But let me tell you a little bit of secret. Let me tell you a little secret. All right. Let me tell you a big secret, actually. If he was out there hiding and they had him hiding for years with all of these lawsuits and fighting with the YouTubers and all the nefarious things going on, lawsuits now, they would be in so much trouble if Sebastian just came and walked out and they had been hiding him the whole time. You can't do that. That's kidnapping from his own father. You simply can't do that. So if that happens, then they'll be held accountable, but I don't believe that.
Seth Rogers. Both of those cases were closed without Sebastian being removed from that home. But the lawsuit now asks whether that was a mistake and claims DCS failed Sebastian. We'll have more on that suit tomorrow night. For WSMV4, I'm investigative reporter Stacey.
All right,
guys, so we have a little bit of an update when it comes.
All right, we already talked about that. Intelligent Commission report. That's at night, by the way. Let me just play
the search for missing teenager Sebastian Rogers out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. For anyone unfamiliar with this case, he went missing in the middle of the night.
Is anyone actually a fan of At Night, or is at this point everyone's like At Night is a freaking felon and we don't listen to anything they say? It means nothing. Let me know. One, if you think At Night is just BS. Just put that. I won't even say it else. Just one, if you think At Night is BS. I'm not even going to go to two.
From his own home, apparently, where he was at with his mom. The only issue is that there's no footage of him ever leaving the residence. There's no evidence that he walked out of the house. There's no evidence that he was kidnapped. There's no evidence that he went through a window to leave the residence. There's nothing aside from him being home 1 minute and his mom pulling out of the attached garage to look for him the next morning when she realized that he wasn't inside the house. Not only has his mother, Katie Proudfoot, not taken part in any search efforts for him, nor has...
Guys, is your blood boiling yet? Indiisham, you look fresh and lovely, Jay. Well, thank you. That makes me feel better and not so tired and old. I am going to be 47 in 9 days, though, guys. So I hope I'm not too tired looking. Thank you, my friend. Big hugs to you. Is your blood boiling yet? I mean, we could keep saying this as much as we want, but the narrative keeps shifting. How so? How does it keep shifting? Why? Oh, I'll tell you. It should be. Thank you, Indiisham. Big hugs to you. Mwah.
She advocated for search efforts to continue for him, and she seemingly just continued on with her life. But she's also referred to him in the past tense since the very beginning of this case, almost as if she knew that he was deceased from the very beginning. Well, At Night Creative Intelligence Agency has been working on Sebastian's case for the last couple of years, and they just announced a few minutes ago that they are ending their active involvement in the search for him. They stated in an FB post that the organization's mission when they first joined the case back in August of 2024 was simple: to help Sebastian's father, Seth, find his son. The group said the investigation became far more complicated than expected.
It did. And you know what ended up happening here is a lot of different lawsuits and arguments between YouTubers. I don't know how that happened or why. The only thing I could think of is money. And they get mad when anyone covers this and anyone gets anything over the case. All of a sudden, if they're not the ones covering it, you're a grifter and you're sticking up for Seth, who's the one that probably did it. We bow down to the Proudfoots, or whatever the hell their damn name is. Proud Feet, Happy Feet. 51, July 27th. Happy birthday month, my friend. All right. Ridiculous.
With much of their work focused not only on collecting information, but determining which tips, photos, videos, and witness claims were actually reliable. And I can attest to their software and their data being extremely helpful in trying to figure out where he could be and what happened to him, trying to detect if his face has ever been picked up on cameras or in pictures posted online. But they said on FB that every single thing that they've looked into was a constant cycle of hope and then disappointment, with promising leads often turning out to be nothing. They admit that they did not handle every situation perfectly. This case has been a dumpster fire since the very beginning, with theories and conspiracies and people just really divided and being very nasty to one another because of this case. But they did say that throughout the entire process, their main goal was to try and find Sebastian. So right now, instead of continuing to search for Sebastian, they're working on his Intelligence Commission report, an independent civilian effort designed to organize the massive amount of information collected during their investigation into.
And guys, I hope that can help law enforcement or anybody just a little bit here, because you got to admit there's got to be leads that are in there over the last 2 years that are really relevant to this case that might point us in the direction of what happened to Sebastian, right? Again, it's no longer where's Sebastian, it's what happened to Sebastian, because I do, guys, I think he absolutely made it home that night. But here's the problem. We don't have video showing him arrive at home, and we don't have video showing him ever leave that house. So if he did walk out, that video that was there is gone. And maybe Katie, she has a whole house, so they got a garage. Maybe she went in the garage and backed it up, and when Chris came, they put him in there. They put his body in there. Something about the timeline between Chris and Katie and how he has that voice. He's been the voice for Katie. It leads me to believe that he has more involvement than any of us can even imagine. All right. What are they hiding?
The case. The report is expected to document timelines, tips, searches, communications, photographs, videos, public statements, investigative efforts, contradictions, and unanswered questions. They said that the current framework is already nearing 300 pages, with the final report potentially reaching between 2,000 and 5,000 pages due to the volume of material involved. They said that they're not going to be determining guilt, replace law enforcement, or interfere with the ongoing investigation, because Sumner County Sheriff's Office says that this investigation remains very active, even though we have seen nothing from them or heard nothing from them. Instead, they say that this report aims to create a transparent record showing where information originated, how it changed over time, and where the available evidence ends. So in simpler terms, they're starting to wrap their involvement in this case up completely. They said updates on that report are expected to begin around September, but emphasized the work will focus on accuracy rather than creating another cycle of online speculation. The organization is no longer accepting tips and directed anyone with information about Sebastian's disappearance to not contact them anymore, but to contact the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the TBI, or the FBI. We kind of always had an idea that this case was probably going to go cold just because it was botched from the beginning, reportedly, but now this is just confirmation that we probably aren't going to ever get answers when it comes to what happened to Sebastian, and we may never see an arrest in this case.
You know, more than anything, I think we want to bring Sebastian home. All right. Sebastian looks like a sweetie, and it's sad that he had a scum of the earth stepdad and mother. And you know what, Cool and Chris? The most wild thing is there's these two communities that are completely split. They're fighting over and suing each other in this case. Do you get a prize? What do you want a prize for? All right, let me show you something, guys. Again, your blood's going to probably be boiling a little bit more. Let me go over what I put together. Now, all of this is compiled from information that's out there. Okay, I didn't make this up. I didn't make it up or any of the things in it. But what I did do is put it together based on the information that we've drawn from this case. All right, so let me show you something. Let's take a look real quick. The Sebastian case overview. All right. Sebastian, Sebi Rogers, 15, autistic and nonverbal, was reported missing from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee on February 26, 2024. Guys, that's almost 2.5 years ago. All right. He's been missing for 872 days as of July 16, 2026. That's 2 years, 4 months, and 20 days. Now, what's happened since? No arrests, no suspects publicly named, no confirmed sightings. TBI still lists him as missing. Search efforts have slowed, but the case is still officially active. Multiple YouTube channels and independent investigators continue to analyze the inconsistencies in the parents' statement. And I'm not talking about Seth. All right, let's look at the red flags surrounding Chris and Katie. And this is from information compiled throughout the 2 years and 4 months and 20 days, whatever. All right, your blood's going to be boiling, guys. No Amber Alert whatsoever. But that's not it. These points come first. Very first interview. All right. It says the one open your tab. I did have the tab. That's funny. I had the tab open with the very first interview, which was either the hands video or the video where they were in the living room and they finally showed their face. I believe hands came first. Later big interviews that came was Nancy Grace. They put mine in there. Guilty of crime and J for justice. Statements made across 2 years and public records reporting this. So this is what we're going over right now. I'm going to break down the behavioral timeline and statement inconsistencies, and then we'll get into the interview directly of Seth Rogers. All right, guys, I'll put those down there while we look at this. What time did Sebastian go to bed? Katie has said multiple different times, between 8:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Chris's times don't always match hers. All right. So we're looking at inconsistent statements about the night Sebastian disappeared. Now, who checked on Sebastian last? In one interview, Katie says she checked. In another interview, Chris says he did. In a third interview, they say neither checked because he was already asleep. Okay. Is anyone getting their blood boiled yet? Anybody paying attention to this? Because when you compile all of this into 2.5 years and you can see their inconsistent statements in their lies, you can't dispute it. There's no way to dispute that. Colleen, good to see you, my friend. All right, so look, here's other things. Whether the bedroom door was open or closed. That's an easy one, right? The detail changes across interviews. Whether the alarm system was alarmed. Sometimes they say it was armed. Other times they say it wasn't. Other times they say I don't remember. Guys, this is all compiled from their interviews. These consistencies are the number one reason that investigators and the public have focused on Chris and Katie. Now, that's not just me or you guys that don't like them. There's a reason why we don't, and that's because, well, the second reason, the lie detector test confusion. Katie repeatedly said that she passed a polygraph, but TBI has never confirmed this, guys. Chris has never stated clearly whether he took one. In one interview, Katie says she passed. In another, she says she doesn't know what the results are. Then, in yet another, she says she was told she passed. The contradiction has definitely fueled suspicion, right? Third, I hope you guys are with me today and enjoying the content that I'm putting out there, because let me tell you, guys, this is... All right, can you please gift 3 memberships? Yes, my friend. Yes, let me get through this and I'll gift 3 memberships, all right? Thank you so much. You guys thank Clark. I'm going to gift 3 memberships as soon as I'm done reading this. Okay? Thank you, my friend. Thank you. That's what I'm saying, NorCal. That's what I'm saying. He checked. He wasn't there. That's what I'm saying. All right. You guys can't gift right now? That's weird. Let me see. All right. Membership gift. I'll gift 1 and then let me hop back into that. Then I'll gift 2 more. All right. Let's go. There's 1. And we got 2 more coming. Please thank Clark for the membership if you received it. All right. My computer is moving a little slow, but there is number 1 that should have came through right now. All right. Bam. Thank you, Clark. I'll give 2 more right after this. So number 3, big red flag, moving out just weeks after Sebastian went missing. This is one of the biggest behavioral red flags in this case. The timeline: Sebastian disappeared February 26, 2024, and Chris and Katie moved out of the home within weeks. They left behind furniture, personal belongings, and items belonging to Sebastian. Why does this matter? Well, because the parents of missing children typically stay near the search area, keep the child's room intact and maintain the home in case the child happens to return. The rapid move is widely viewed as abnormal and suspicious. Number 4, the first interview, the one they say on the tab, the very first one, the interview was filmed 11 days after Sebastian vanished. We're going to go over this, guys. Red flags from that interview. Guys, this was the creepy hands video. Okay, in the last interview, we played that. I'm going to play a little bit different one, but we're going to have a take on it. What's up? What's up, Melissa? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Norkel got one of the gifted memberships thanks to MM Clark. All right, look, the hands video, 11 days after. This is like Letitia Stout and many others that don't want to go on camera or call 911 because they're suspicious. They refuse to show their faces, claiming emotional distress. Their timeline is very vague and contradictory. All right. They repeatedly say, I don't know, to the most basic questions. And then they appear detached, not frantic or devastated, but they will tell you, I'm so sad, and then keep on trucking. They give no clear theory about what happened, but they want to say, no, this didn't happen, and wrap it up. They're quick to say no about something, but they're not quick to say, oh, yeah, that's a possibility. That could happen. Well, guess what? When you know what happened already, you're not going to make suppositions, and you're certainly not going to search. All right. They did mention searching the neighborhood, calling friends, checking cameras, and retracing steps, which many neighbors said didn't happen. They say Katie was out there yelling for Sebastian with her window up. They were tearing flyers down. They said they don't have cameras to go over. What? Changing theories over time as well. Earlier theory was he wandered off, which you just heard in that. He walked out of the door. I wish he wouldn't have walked out of the front door. Later theory, he was abducted. First, it was him wandering off or walking out of the door. Later, he was abducted. Then after that, he might have been trafficked. Later, he could have been taken somewhere by someone he knew. Later, he might have been hiding. The constant shifting of theories without any kind of evidence is seen as avoidance behavior. All right, let's continue. All right, where's the next one? Behavior during interviews. And guys, we're gonna go over this, but I'm also gonna play the video and you'll see what I'm saying. KC, what's up? Come on in. Good to see you. Happy almost Friday, right? It's almost Friday. All right, so behavior issues, and you'll see all this. Chris often appears emotionally flat, and I'll add to that by saying he's either emotionally flat or he's just flat out yelling at people. Katie alternates between crying, laughing, smiling, and then being defensive. They frequently contradict each other in real time. They rarely speak out about Sebastian's personality, interest, or memories, which is a major red flag in a missing person case. Victim blaming. Oh, he's autistic. He didn't, he's this. Oh, he's such a messy kid. Look at that picture with him. Come on, guys. This is one of the most suspicious inconsistencies in this case. The alarm system. Guys, they say the alarm was armed. The alarm was not armed. And then they say they don't remember. Then they say the alarm malfunctioned. And then they say the alarm didn't malfunction. Why does that matter? If the alarm was armed, then Sebastian could have left without triggering it. He could not have left without triggering it. Excuse me. The inconsistency is seen as potentially deceptive. All right. Now, there's no clear explanation for why they didn't check on him. Most parents check on a sleeping autistic child, especially one that they think walked out of the door. They claim that they didn't check. They assumed he was asleep. They were tired. They didn't think about it. This is widely viewed as implausible. Now, lack of search effort, visible search efforts. Neighbor reported that they did not see Katie or Chris searching the neighborhood as they stated. They also didn't see them participating in volunteer searches or canvassing and handing out flyers. As a matter of fact, you guys in the last video that we did, we saw Katie and Chris telling off a private eye to get the fuck out of their yard and get off their property. They were trying to help them find Sebastian. Didn't want money, just trying to get in there and bring him home, and they denied it. No public plea ever, guys, for the abductor. Parents of abducted children typically make an emotional plea, and they'll say, please bring Sebastian home. We love him so much. And they humanize him. They did not do that. They never spoke directly to any kidnapper or perpetrator that may have taken Sebastian, nor have they begged for the child's return. Instead, what they do is they deflect on everybody and everything else, and they don't do anything. All right. And when they do, they go on channels that we don't even know about. Now, why people suspect them? Well, the core reasons are the story's constantly changing. The behavior doesn't match typical grieving parents. They moved out quickly. They gave conflicting timelines. They cannot explain the alarm system. They rarely show emotion about Sebastian. They appear defensive, not devastated. They avoid answering direct questions. They did not search, and they do not plead publicly for his return. Now you can see why public scrutiny is so intense in this case. All right, let's continue. Let's get this. All right, we're gonna get to Seth now, and Sebastian's dad sues sheriff, state agency over Tennessee's disappearance. Let's get into that.
And the question that has haunted Middle Tennessee from the beginning remains the same. What happened to Sebastian?
So tonight, just hours after filing suit, Seth Rogers sits down exclusively with WSMV4's Stacey Cameron, saying it's time to ask a second question. What happened to the investigation?
We're continuing to follow breaking news in Sumner County. A large search is underway for a missing teen.
Thousands searched.
There is significant concern tonight.
He was last seen in all black.
Millions watched.
Dog the man.
All right, so this should be the right one. Anyhow, real quick, NorCal, thank you for the $2 super chat. I'm going to gift 2 more memberships while we're going through this interview, and then we have so much more. So stay here. MP, good to see you. Karina, how you doing? And then Smoky Mountain, I wanted to say hello, and yes, thank you. Keep coming back. Glad you found it here too. Glad you found us. Always glad to have new people that are open-minded and can have a discussion without arguing.
The hunter is coming to look for Sebastian.
Everyone had a theory.
What was under that soft soil?
Everyone wanted answers.
He deserves justice.
What happened to 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers? But nearly 2.5 years later, there have been no arrests, no suspects, and no sight of Sebastian.
I need my son home. I need my son home.
From the moment his son went missing, Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, prayed.
It's like God gave me a purpose in life.
Your son was your purpose.
And he still is. I just gotta find him.
Sebastian disappeared during the overnight hours of February 26, 2024, from the Hendersonville home he shared with his mother, Katie Proudfoot, and her husband, Chris Proudfoot.
He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
At first, Seth says he trusted the investigation, but
And guys, after this happened, no, there was no last scene. The last person that saw Sebastian would have been Katie if he was in the house that night that they came back. So that's why I say, why are the parents not culpable? If Katie says he was in his room, she heard a loud thud, and then he just disappeared, then that should be the statement that she sticks with. We absolutely need answers on the Sebastian case, and I think that it's a smart move if he can keep it contained. If Seth can keep this lawsuit suing the sheriff in DCF, if he can keep it under control where people aren't fighting and it's causing a whole bunch of ruckus, it's a good move because it's putting his son back out in the spotlight and holding people accountable. All right, Mary France, good to see you. Green Apple Girl 94. She's such a bullshitter. All right, let's continue.
Idea. Sebastian just walked from home alone with no shoes on and without his phone never made sense.
People don't just vanish into thin air.
No, they don't. No matter how I look at it, I just cannot wrap my head around my son walking out of that house.
Sebastian has autism, ADHD, and a rare chromosomal disorder that caused intellectual disabilities. So as hours turned to days and days to weeks, Seth Rogers says his faith in the investigation faded, and the question changed. It was no longer where's Sebastian, but what happened to the investigation.
I don't think they put any effort in finding my son anymore.
He says that question is what brought him here, suing the Sumner County Sheriff's Office in federal court, claiming the agency and people that were supposed to find his son failed them both.
Did you think a search that big would find at least one clue?
Would have been nice.
The lawsuit claims Seth.
Now, Sebastian went missing at 15 years old, not 13. All right. So I wanted to make sure I made that very clear. Thank you, just one, Heather. I appreciate that. Green Apple prayers for Sebastian. All right. I haven't gifted another membership, right? I got 2 more memberships to get y'all. All right. I'm here for it. Let's go. I'm going to get you guys some memberships. In order to win a membership, you just got to hit the like button and drop something in the comments. That way you can be in it and the system knows. All right. It looks like you won a membership, Andrea. Good to see you. Katie has taken many acting lessons, bad acting. Well, guys, when we get into the interviews, my goodness, you guys, I think you guys are going to enjoy what I'm playing today.
Rogers' loss of confidence didn't happen overnight. The complaint claims the case was never adequately staffed and argues that once the massive ground search for Sebastian ended, the investigation began losing momentum. Only one detective was left to follow leads, and there was just one news conference at that point to update the public.
We are exploring every lead that comes in and every tip that comes in.
Making it all worse, according to the lawsuit, the sheriff's office stopped communicating with Seth Rogers, and for the past 18 months, there's been a communications blackout.
Is that what it feels like, a blackout?
Yeah. It says a lot when they won't speak to me. To me, it says that they know that they screwed the pooch.
Then the lawsuit asks another question. If the investigation lost steam in the early days, what happened during those first critical hours? Because the complaint claims that's where some of its most serious.
There you go. And that's right. All right. That's the first 48 hours are the most important. And we don't know what happened. We don't even know exactly when Sebastian went missing. Allegedly, it could have been 10 o'clock that night before when Katie said she heard a thud. But again, it could be her also deflecting that thud to her telling us, oh, yeah, I heard something, just to get the pressure off of her. All right. I agree. Thank you, guys. He definitely needs more exposure and not the kind that Sebastian's been getting. All right. He shouldn't be getting content creators fighting over each other. That has nothing to do with this. Instead, it's just making the case go on the back burner even further and not be taken seriously.
Allegations begin.
In your lawsuit says this investigation, its focus was critically marred from the beginning.
It was dead on arrival. This looks to me like an amateur investigation.
That's Seth Rogers' attorney, Darren Ritchie. The first allegation centers on the home itself.
So literally on the TBI website, there's a Sebastian Rogers case file, and they debunked those lights. All right. I'm glad that they did come out with that because, many people lose sight of this whole case, right? They lose sight of the actual disappearance and what happened. So when you go directly onto it's the FBI.gov, it talks about the lights and it talks about the kid that was spotted that looked like him. All of these things have been debunked. The green hoodie person that was at the restaurant that night, none of that happened. None of that was solidified in the case. I'm looking at it right here that the 2 major rumors were the flashlight theory and the person in the green hoodie theory. Now, the flashlight theory was the house down the street from Sebastian had security footage from the night of his disappearance, and the camera angled in a direction that happened to be facing his backyard. It captured 2 small moving lights. Now, at first glance, you would think, okay, this could be this right in Sebastian's yard. Someone's out there lurking with the flashlights in hand, giving a suspect to that night. However, when law enforcement further investigated the video, they disproved that theory, guys. All right. And the green hoodie theory, the video surfaced when Sebastian and Katie were in the parking lot of the local restaurant that they were he was last seen in the video. There was a green hoodie person that briefly interacts with Katie. Suspicions arose, and in this short interaction, the person in the green hoodie was planning something with Katie related to his disappearance. Law enforcement spoke with the employees at the restaurant and the person and confirmed this was a frequent customer, and they helped to identify them. That's it. That's all. Done.
The lawsuit claims investigators never secured the Proudfoot home as a potential crime scene, allowing reporters and family members inside before it was fully processed.
That alone from the jump started this on a faulty road.
But the lawsuit says there was something else investigators should have been asking about: home security cameras, because according to the suit, they weren't working the day Sebastian disappeared.
Do you have evidence that those security cameras at the home were offline and investigators didn't determine why?
I just know that they have not been able to get any footage from those cameras. I don't know why, but I know that that would have been the first key.
Right? Isn't that very suspicious? Do you think they'll be held accountable now, at least for the cameras, to know whether they were or weren't? Now, we do know that. We heard Katie and Chris talk about watching Sebastian's eating habits because he would just get a bunch of food, right? And they tried to keep him out of the fridge. DB Bentley, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. I appreciate it so very much. Also, I gifted another membership for Clar. Guys, if you received that membership, please thank Clar. All right, you're late, but you're here, and we're happy to have you here, Luna. First thing a parent would be asking is, where is the camera footage? My son went missing. I want to know which direction he went into, or anything that can help me identify what happened.
The element of any evidence to collect in this case.
And the lawsuit argues that should have raised immediate questions because Katie Proudfoot installs and services security cameras for a living. But the suit claims the missed opportunities didn't end there. It also alleges investigators never verified Chris Proudfoot's alibi that he was 3 hours away when Sebastian disappeared.
What evidence says Chris Proudfoot's alibi wasn't verified?
We have looked at the police reports on this matter, and we do not see where they were able to verify his alibi. They may say that the alibi is safe and is accurate, but I don't see the steps that they took to get there.
The complaint also describes an alleged tip from a nurse at Sebastian's doctor's office who claimed Katie Proudfoot canceled an appointment just 3 days before Sebastian vanished. The suit claims that lead was never adequately pursued, and it further alleges the sheriff's office was already part of a child protective team looking into abuse.
So can you imagine that? Imagine if we're covering a case, guys, and welcome in to the people that just rolled in, Dreads to Locks. Love the name. Thank you. All right. Thanks for coming on in. Baja, Dad looks way different. I agree. He definitely looks like he's gone into a depression. And, people go into depression and they either lose weight or gain weight. That's what happens. All right. A tornado. Yeah. I think Holly's having some kind of storm in Texas as well. All right. Raining in Georgia. I'm in San Jose and I got the air on, guys. It's what? Mom, how many degrees is it? Like 86? I don't know. It's not storming, though. Sheriff Craddock and candidates running for office in Sumner County, Tennessee. We're not giving up on this. Justice for Sebastian. Thank you. I love having people here that are deep into this case and know what's been going on. All right? It's hot AF in Florida. You're in Texas, too? How's the storm? All right, look. You guys, if you were here with me from day one for many of these cases, you know damn well if we saw a CPS report against a parent that the child had gone missing just months after, and they're supposed to move out with their dad the next day, and then all the other circumstances, you better believe we'd be pointing at the finger at them. So how did this slide by?
Allegations involving Sebastian after Chris Proudfoot allegedly struck him in the stomach.
You're suing the sheriff's office, but the complaint at some point sounds like the finger's being pointed at the Proudfoots. Who are you after here?
I am going after the sheriff's department right now.
We also reached out to the Proudfoots. They declined our interview request, but they have never been arrested, never been named suspects, and never been identified as persons of interest in Sebastian's disappearance. And they have repeatedly told WSMV4 they had nothing to do with Sebastian's disappearance.
How bad does that hurt when people start accusing you?
It hurts. It hurts a lot.
Look at the flat effect she has on there. Just, it hurts. It hurts a lot. Next. I mean, come on, guys. We would be doing this same thing for any case that this happened in, and nobody's questioning them. When I say nobody, I mean, we're not going to do we can't do shit about it. We're on YouTube. We're presenting the case. We're keeping awareness. We're talking about the things that happen, but we have no authority to go in and say, bring her in without Chris, separate them, have a talk, go through their electronics, do it all over again, put a new person fresh on the case, or add somebody. What's up, Ebony? Good to see you, my friend. And Ash Mangy. Anywhere else, Chris Proudfoot would have taken into custody. That's what Thank you. I'm going to leave that down for a second, because anybody anywhere else would have been brought into custody after this. All right? So that's going to stay there. I'm so sad. You guys believe me?
For Katie Proudfoot, the pain is being accused. For Seth Rogers, the pain is not knowing if everything that should have been done to find Sebastian was.
I want to hug my son. I want to feel his physical presence. I don't want to close my eyes and have these nightmares looking for him.
We asked the Sumner County Sheriff's Office for an interview. We haven't heard back. And tonight, there is more. Rogers also filed a second federal lawsuit, this one targeting the Tennessee Department of Children's Services. The suit claims DCS had 2 cases of alleged abuse involving Sebastian, one of them inside the Hendersonville home where he lived, but...
That's a beautiful house, by the way. I mean, when you look at that house, everything looks right as rain, right? Beautiful house, 2 parents, one's a stepdad, but you see some pictures with them, and you think, okay, this is perfect little family going on. We can expand, we can do whatever, right? But then what happened inside of that house is much different. All right, NorCal, as we say down here, full of bullshit, right? All right, Jamie, good to see you. I'm always doing well. I'm doing well when I'm here. All right. Birthday month. Beautiful house, though. I'll tell you that, man.
Never notified his father, Seth Rogers. Both of those cases were closed without Sebastian being removed from that home. But the lawsuit now asks whether that was a mistake and claims DCS failed Sebastian. We'll have more on that suit tomorrow night. For WSMV4, I'm in.
All right, so tomorrow night, he keeps saying, we're at tomorrow night already. We'll see what comes. You know who, boo boo. Remember, for 12 months. Hello. You know who, boo boo? I don't know who it is, but hello, boo boo. Is that you, boo boo? He tried to say that Sebastian lied and the case was dismissed. Yeah, y'all can buy the house across. Hey, you know what? We're looking to get another second property, but it may be property and not a house. Those houses are affordable there. Give me a brick house. I'll buy it over there. Let's go. Let's go to back and forth to Tennessee. Yes, the skinny kid kept stealing food. Child abuser. Thank you, Bob, for saying that. These are classic signs of abuse. Right there. That's signs of abuse when a child feels like they need to steal food or overcompensate and bring food into the room and store it. That means they feel like they're not getting enough. All right? It does. It does. But Seth, I got to give Seth, no matter what anybody says about him, all right? He is the father of this missing child, and he has been at the forefront of this case, rain or shine. Yes, he might be a little this or that, you guys, but he is a victim, in my opinion, in this case. All right, let's here we go. Let's talk about some other. We're gonna get into some of the things with the YouTubers as well, of course. Check this out. You guys might know about this. The people that are really heavy in this case know about Bullhorn Betty, YouTuber that files a lawsuit against Sumner County Sheriff Detective and parents of Sebastian Rogers. All right. So I'm going to just show you this instead of reading it. This is a trend that seems to have happened throughout the Sebastian Rogers case. No matter who's covering it, somebody doesn't like it. You got one side that hates you, and now they're in a RICO and they're suing each other and all the kinds of shit. Or you got this woman, Bullhorn Betty, that's filed a 10-page lawsuit. Her name is Andrea Griffin. All right. She claims her constitutional rights were violated. Let's pop over into court and take a look.
Rogers went missing from Hendersonville in 2024, prompting national coverage and a social media investigative frenzy.
This is what not to do in this case. All right. I'm just going to tell you, you know how bad that would make me feel as a parent if my child were missing, and you've got YouTubers literally fighting over content of my son or my child. Just find the kid, put the awareness. What are you doing? What is even happening here? And guys, this is not the only YouTuber that you're going to see here today. All right. I can't personally, I can't watch her. She is just as hyped up as I am. And you know what they say about two people that are too similar and loud. I can't do it. She would drive me nuts because she literally talks with a bullhorn. All right, let's continue. This is ridiculous. Nobody should ever be doing this or filing lawsuits over content.
Creator, known for covering the case, is now suing the Sumner County Sheriff and others after she was arrested for allegedly harassing Rogers' family. Welcome to News 2 at 5. I'm Haley Wilgus. News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry breaks down those claims.
YouTuber and content creator Andrea Griffin, also known as Bullhorn Betty, has filed a lawsuit against a long list of defendants, including Sumner County Sheriff Eric Craddock, a Sumner County detective, and the mother, stepfather, and 2 other family members of missing Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers. In the 10-page lawsuit filed on Thursday, Griffin claims her constitutional rights were violated, including her Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable seizures and prosecution. The lawsuit also accuses the sheriff's office and members of Sebastian Rogers' family of targeting her because of critical comments she posted to social media.
I mean, I gotta say, I don't care what. Those are the parents. Yeah, I mean, I have nothing like her, but I'm saying she's loud and I can't listen to her for more than 3 minutes. Nothing against her. I don't know her. Don't even know her content. I tried and I can't. Nobody should do this, guys. You guys should smack me in the face if I'm covering a crime, covering a case on YouTube, and I start going after the parents of something. If somebody asks me to back off, that's what I'm going to do. And I believe that. I do. I believe it's for clout and just to be in the drama of this case, right along with all the other YouTubers that are covering this case in a nasty way. I wondered why people were voting her off Turtle Island. Well, there you go. There you go. Don't go after people's parents like that. That's ridiculous. Stop.
About the investigation and the family. Griffin adds the defendants reportedly acted, quote, recklessly and maliciously, leading to orders of protection and eventual damages, including time in jail and a $20,000 bond.
It was due to an increased fear because of the danger from threats, harassment, and as well as trespassing.
She's reporting a bunch of.
Again, they are just as flat as they are saying any other thing. Won't smack or castigate you. Put some more focus on taking her to court. I agree, 110%. They're more interested than how they look in the situation than actually looking for Sebastian. Jay, I hear you, Bullhorn Betty videos, but in person, that's why I'm not saying anything bad about her. I've heard good things, and I only take what I gather. And when she's reporting, I just can't take her yelling at me for hours. So kudos to her. I don't want to bash any YouTubers. I'll give you my opinion and then we'll move forward. I'm sure she's a sweetheart. Let her be a sweetheart over there in Tennessee.
Lies. She's harassing me. Harassing my family.
Those comments came during a court proceeding last year when several of the defendants accused
Look at that mullet. He's got that mullet on point. Hey, bro, just let the hair go. Let it go. You got a freaking hairline halfway in the middle of your head and a mullet. It's time, buddy. If anyone knows Chris and he's still rocking this mullet, let him know. It's time. Let it go.
Accused Griffin of stalking and harassing the family.
This is First Amendment protected speech. There has to be some action that will require that by Ms. Griffin to direct that to the petitioners. And the statute clearly says that it's only a violation if the defendant knowingly does that.
According to the district attorney's office, the grand jury ultimately declined to indict Griffin because they did not believe there was enough evidence.
Let it
Griffin
go.
is asking the court to block any further retaliation action against her, along with compensatory and punitive damages. She is also requesting a jury trial. Attempted to reach out to Griffin, her attorney, and all the parties named in this lawsuit. I'm still waiting to hear back. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office says they cannot comment on pending litigation. Haley.
I think that the small market teams.
All right, so all right, so that was shut down. Let's take a look real quick here. Actually, just want to about a minute and a half run through this so you can see that I'm not just talking shit. This is actually the FBI.gov website, and it's got searching for Sebastian. This was posted or maybe updated and say September 4th, 2025. The FBI is still offering a reward of up to $50,000 for leads that lead to Sebastian's whereabouts. All right. I don't know why they did not post these pictures initially. Instead, they put out pictures of a little tiny boy, which is another red flag for me. Why would people be looking for that when he looks clearly not like that at all? All right. So this goes over it. Again, this is FBI.gov. So it's not some site that's just making stuff up. So when we go down to the bottom, this is, tip it in. If you have a tip, it's tbi.gov, or you can call Sumner County Sheriff's Office. I wouldn't do that at this time. I'd call TBI, screw that, or FBI. However, here's the case rumors versus reality. And there you go. Two big rumors were the flashlight theory that you see here in this still photo from the security footage. You can see a little tiny light back there. You probably seen Mob Crew covering this time and time again about flashlights and all that, what time and who and what. That's been debunked, as well as the green hoodie theory. All right. That person was a regular at the restaurant and had nothing to do with this, in my opinion, either. All right. Let's take a look at this real quick. We'll get a little bit more details onto like what's happening. Again, I do not have the lawsuit. I don't see it anywhere either. I don't see it just readily available. If I have a case number, I can certainly look it up. But yeah, there's not a case number on it. So just quickly, why wasn't I informed? Missing Tennessee teen's father says DCS had warning signs before son's disappearance. Now, he's filed a lawsuit against Tennessee Department of Children's Services and the sheriff's office. All right. So the father, we already read that, why it matters. Lawsuits represent the first formal public legal accounting of how government agencies have handled Sebastian's welfare and his disappearance. And it could force the release of investigative records, including internal communications and sworn testimony that's never been made public. Again, right now, it's marked down that Sebastian Rogers disappeared. He went missing February 26th, and he just vanished, never to be seen. All right, both lawsuits, guys, are moving through federal court right now. If the cases proceed, the attorneys could seek investigative reports. That's what I want. Internal communications and child welfare records and sworn depositions. I really do want to know if that appointment really was some kind of mental health appointment and it got canceled 3 days prior by Katie. Now, at the time of Sebastian's disappearance, guys, he was 15 years old, reported with autism and severe ADHD. and a rare chromosomal condition that required daily support. All right. So first 24 to 48 hours, he needs daily support. Didn't find him. 2.5 years later, guys, you tell me. All right. His case has become one of the most widely followed missing child cases in the country, drawing national media coverage, true crime podcasts, and thousands of volunteers. All right. Now, Sebastian's mom described a gaping hole in her heart in an exclusive interview nearly 2 years after his disappearance. It was literally a 2-year later episode. And stepdad Chris described feeling hopeless. Now, again, I believe that they only use that to paint a picture and a narrative of two victims of this crime or case. There's not even a crime at this point. Luna, thank you for the gifted membership. Guys, if you receive that membership, please thank Luna. Yes, and that's the problem, Cool and Chris. People thought that he wasn't able to talk. By the way the parents described him, it was like he couldn't talk. What heart? Wait, what do you... Oh, a gaping hole in her non-heart. All right, let's... okay, so listen. Those are the things there. Update 5:45 p.m. As a matter of practice, the department generally doesn't comment on pending litigation. Additionally, DCS is unable to comment on specific cases due to the state and federal confidentiality laws. Now, what happened to his son? Seth says, I need my son home. There's nothing else. Now, nearly 2.5 years later, 15-year-old Sebastian disappeared without a trace, guys. All right, so this is where we are. The 2 lawsuits. Again, I'm not going to go back over that. We already did that. I would love to go over the documents if someone wants to get a hold of them. The lawsuit alleges that DCS had warning signs. All right, they're saying DCS was alarmed of Sebastian's being abused in that household, but they closed 2 investigations without letting Seth know. Now, for him, the revelation has become one of the most painful parts of the case. What did I do for him not to tell me that he was scared? Rogers says, I'm supposed to protect him, and I failed. All right. Rogers also said he had no idea that DCS had investigated allegations involving Sebastian in 2022 and then again in 2023 after Sebastian went missing. Guys, wouldn't any detective, law enforcement, FBI, TBI use that in a case like this where a child goes missing? Why wasn't I informed? He says he could have come live with me. I haven't taken him. I would have taken him in a heartbeat. No parent should have to get an attorney to get records from a state agency to find out what was already recorded. That doesn't make sense. Now, listen, Sebastian reported sexual abuse, the lawsuit claims. According to the complaint, DCS first opened the investigation in September of 2022 after Sebastian disclosed to a school professional that he had been sexually abused by another child while living in California. Did you guys even know any of that? I bet you some people didn't, right? That didn't come out until later. And when it did, people got kind of upset that it was even put out there, which I understand. All right. I do understand that. Look at that. I know. Gaping hole in her head. She defended a disgusting husband. Right. And you guys tell me, is that a red flag? Because they had open cases, one including sexual assault. All right. So that's all going to be in the lawsuit, guys. Next, DCS or Child Protective Services, they opened 2 investigations before Sebastian's disappearance. So the lawsuits will address 8 months later that DCS opened a second investigation after receiving allegations that Sebastian's stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, had struck him in the stomach. The lawsuit claims Sebastian confirmed the incident to investigators, and his stepfather allegedly admitted to striking him. Now, despite the complaint, DCS closed the investigation just 3 days later, determining no additional services were needed. Can you imagine that? And then 9 months later, Sebastian disappeared. The complaint relies heavily on DCS's own investigation records, arguing that they show the agency had information suggesting Sebastian was a vulnerable child who required greater protection. All right. So that's what's going to be in the lawsuit. Amongst the allegations, the lawsuit claims that DCS documented that Sebastian said he felt the safest with his father, Seth. All right. It also alleges the agency determined Sebastian qualified for federal Title IV candidacy program, which is a designation for children considered at serious or imminent risk of removal from their homes. That'd be nice to have known, right? The lawsuit argues that finding those should have prompted additional protective action rather than the closure of both investigations. Now, you guys know that Chris and Katie didn't call 911, but Chris phoned in a friend. I wonder if he also phoned in a friend regarding this allegation or allegations. All right. Half story leaves half the conclusion. I don't think that we'd be here today. I think Seth would have corroborated what Sebastian was feeling, and this would have taken a very different turn. Okay. The lawsuit alleges DCS violated Seth Rogers' constitutional rights by failing to notify him of either investigation, despite documenting that Sebastian had identified him as a parent whom with he felt the safest. There's no words for it. He says, they failed my son. They didn't protect him, Rogers says. As they investigate, they reached out to, of course, Tennessee Department of Children's Services, but they have not received a response. They probably won't. What happens next? Well, both lawsuits are moving into a federal court where Seth and his attorney hope the discovery process will force government agencies to publicly answer the questions that they say have gone unanswered for nearly 2.5 years. All right. So people are asking, did this happen? Is it in? Has it been filed? Yes. All right. It has been filed and we're moving it forward. He's moving it forward. And I support him in doing that, whatever it is, to bring his son's case back to the attention that it deserves. All right. Not on the back streets of YouTube. So as detailed as the case filings are, neither lawsuit identifies who caused Sebastian's disappearance, which, guys, we don't know. Neither suit alleges that Katie or Chris are legally responsible for the disappearance. Instead, both lawsuits argue that government agencies failed to meet their responsibility after receiving the information. They should have acted on it. They should have done their job. All right. So they declined, of course, and they're not, Katie and Chris aren't going to give an interview. Both have denied involvement, and Seth continues the search. All right. This is just quoting him on what he said. Ooh, that looks good. But that's not what we're doing. What we are doing is the missing child case that doesn't make sense. All right. Let's get into that. You guys know how much I love Deception Detective. All right. And he's got so many of these videos. I could pick one, but I do like this one in the context for today. The missing child case doesn't make sense. And I agree. This is Deception Detective breaking down an interview after the Roadhouse incident and with the dark side, so to speak, what they call. Let's continue.
Obvious suspects and pulling CPS reports, they got cold feet. Sebastian Rogers vanished in early 2024. So who knows what happened? His mom, Katie Proudfoot, his dad, Seth Rogers, his stepdad, Chris Proudfoot, a kidnapper, only Sebastian himself? Let's watch his stepdad on the Elevated Truth podcast to find out. I haven't seen this part yet. I wanted to react to it with all of you. So let's go ahead and listen.
I'm not up here to smear you or smear Katie or smear Seth. Okay. That's not my goal.
Smear. Listen, it's not a smear.
There you go.
It's the fact of an insinuation or the way that people perceive it. And what do? They're going to turn around and they're going to blow up the phone lines, the tip lines, and push this narrative that is so false.
Now, mind you, that man that you see sitting up there with the glasses and the flag behind him, That's the same man that we talked about in the last episode that came to a conclusion that maybe, just maybe, and he said it on the panel. Chris and Katie were watching this shit on their TV when this guy said maybe Sebastian got his mom pregnant and they had to get rid of him. What? Why go there to wait, what? And you're still talking to him? You're still listening to this BS? That man is the man that said that Chris loves so much. It goes to all their channels to what? Get an outreach for Sebastian? I don't think so. I don't think so. Not good news, guys. Not good news. All right. This is not good. These are the same people that he was going on the panel with that were talking shit about the private eyes that were trying to help them.
That's what they're going to do.
That's Chris.
Has that been the same thing? The little bit of information that you and Katie have put out, the creators done to Seth?
Right.
Actually, no, we don't put out false information about Seth.
I didn't say false, just information in general.
I'm surprised he talks to
there
them
if
still.
it's information that should be known about Seth. Isn't that worth it?
Why doesn't that work the same? Why doesn't that work the same way for Chris and Katie though?
Well, if it's actual factual information, sure, put it out and call law enforcement. Go for it.
I mean, listen, you know this as well as I know.
This ain't about tit for tat of what he did in the past, what she's done in the past, what I've done in the past. Who cares? This ain't about our characters. This is about finding Sebastian.
That's Chris Proudfoot speaking. I pointed out because it sure doesn't sound like someone whose son vanished 10 months prior.
Nope.
His biggest concern is people calling the tip line. You'd think that would be the main reason for calling into a YouTube show like this, to encourage people to do exactly that. He didn't even give out the tip line phone number. As I pointed out in my last video, How to Detect a Lie, he's also somehow eliminated his wife, himself, and Seth Rogers as suspects. How could he possibly know that nothing in any of their pasts has anything to do with the disappearance?
And in my opinion, this whole campaign that they've done on YouTube is to put themselves in a light that no one else is putting them in based on the information we have. Now, you saw about, halfway into the show, I gave you an outline of the things that have been gathered in this case that show that there's conflicting stories, conflicting statements, inconsistencies, and so many more things that are very questionable, that should be questionable to any detective, right? Yeah, I mean, you're talking about that whole panel. Probably. I can't even understand why they would bring their case to those people.
This conclusiveness, rather than curiosity, suggests he knows more than he's letting on. Finally, and most bizarrely, when the panel offered to dig up new facts for him, he wasn't grateful or excited about that.
Nope.
In fact, he got pretty defensive, it sounds like. Well, go ahead, call the police. You go and do that. In other words, he's not acting the way I would expect him to act if his story were true.
Well, Seth did this, Katie said that, I did this, and blah, blah, blah. Once again, it doesn't find Sebastian.
But who put that information out there for everybody to know? If it doesn't matter, why was it ever put out there in the first place?
Well, how many times have you asked us about something about Seth and we've never told you?
Rarely.
Same concept.
Rarely.
Nope.
I mean,
Same
honestly,
concept.
listen, here's the thing. It's not about me wanting you to be bashed, Katie to be bashed, or Seth. I don't want any of the parents to be bashed. But I also,
Quit the crap.
don't tell me what to do with my channel because I'm not doing any crap. I'm simply bringing up conversation, Chris. The same conversations that I've had with you personally. I'm not talking about anything that I haven't talked to you and Katie about. So to assume that I'm coming on here and making shit up or pushing a narrative is bullshit, because I'm not. And you just said yourself, everything I've said, I've spoke to you about already. So to insinuate that.
But he has, and it's wild because he still goes back. This was before the last time that I showed you what happened with the channel and those crazy rumors about maybe getting Katie pregnant. What? Why even go there? Denise Reyes, welcome. Come on in, you guys. Hit the like button and drop a comment in there so we can get this into the algorithm. 731 Leo. I was with you through the whole Madeline Soto case. Good to see you. Well, Denise, good to see you back here. Thank you and happy birthday month. All right, let's continue.
I'm putting out some type of narrative that is you don't know about or you don't whatever. That's not the case. My questions have come up based on the conversations that we've had, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day, I will stand on this again. And I won't go into it any further out of respect. I have been very careful about speaking on Sebastian at all and why there were decisions being made, because I think it is extremely important to protect a child, right? I also,
guys, these people are not true crime content creators by any means. All right. They had a major cash grab in the beginning of this where people were just grabbing as much cash as they could from this case and giving themselves clout and doing things that just are off the wall for a true crime case. I can't even understand or comprehend why Chris is sitting back there talking to 1, 2, 3, 4 YouTube content creators that don't put out true crime. All they do is bash on people. All right. So I can't understand why they're even there.
I think that if the general public knew some of the things, they would understand why you and Katie and Seth were making the decisions you were making or attempting to make. Would you agree?
After I posted my last video, lots of other creators reacted to it and sent over a whole bunch of other new subscribers. So thank you and welcome. And since there are so many new people here, I just want to clarify that the point of my channel is not to solve this crime. It would be great if I could contribute and help make that happen. But the main point of my channel is to teach my subscribers how to spot lies and manipulation. So when Truth Elevated says he's keeping certain details of his conversations with Chris private, that's his decision to make, and I'm not going to challenge him on it. Although obviously I'd be happy if he released everything he knows. So for now, we're just going to work with what we have here, and frankly, it's more than enough to develop the opinion that Chris has guilty knowledge.
I'm not going to sit here and go over that.
I respect that.
What I will agree with is simply this. Having a conversation is one thing. Having questions is one thing. But when your chat, which, I mean, no, you're not responsible for everybody. That's completely understandable. But as one creator has even stated, sometimes the way you say something almost seems like you push something in a different direction.
Well,
I just think it's frustrating to certain people that I won't push their direction.
I don't have a direction other than inviting Sebastian and bringing him home.
I didn't say you.
That's what I have a problem with. Is why is everybody so worried about the bullshit? And that's literally what it is, bullshit.
Wow.
Instead of actual finding Sebastian.
And it goes both ways, right? Why is he sitting back there wasting his time talking to content creators that don't create true crime? They don't create awareness. All they do is create lawsuits and they sue each other and they argue and they fight. And I think one of the content creators that's on this panel doesn't even have a YouTube channel anymore because it was so foul, they cut it down. All right. About whatever pick on the day creator they want to bully, except the deception detective. He's on. Yeah, right. Thank you, Kelsey. We're not even trying to talk about that. What we're talking about is why Chris and Katie are going to them for this speculation, because I assure you, Elevated Truth doesn't have any information that we're missing out on. More like speculation that we don't want to hear. I don't want to hear that. That's ridiculous.
Well, to be fair, Chris, without all the information is kind of hard, right?
Right, but there's no new information. I wish there was. There's nothing.
And again,
and because there's nothing, I think a lot of people are filling it with bullshit, right? They're filling the void with the gossip and the bullshit and that, those.
Well, now a creator's involved. I mean, so yeah.
Well,
this is the shit that's going on.
That's what y'all are doing, though.
Somebody's going to fill the gap with something, right? And that's what we see day in day out.
And I see a lot of comments, and I see a lot of comments about Katie, let Katie speak, and using the Texas Roadhouse video footage as an example, she was picked apart simply for looking for a waitress, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Like they picked that apart for weeks.
I'm glad you mentioned the Texas Roadhouse footage because it proves that everyone on this call, including Chris, was aware of it. I'll explain why that's important in a second. For those who don't know what it is, days before this interview, Dog the Bounty Hunter and his team released the last known footage.
And just so you guys are aware of my feelings, I have nothing bad against Dog the Bounty Hunter, but I think he's just trying to survive like everybody else. When Dog the Bounty Hunter comes into a case, in my opinion, it's just for a PR type of stunt to get more eyes on a case, because that's what happens. But what doesn't happen is he doesn't go out there and find anybody. I haven't seen any of that for years. So if you guys were just curious about my thoughts on Dog, I think his days are over. All All right. No, he didn't die. Yeah, not for years. Just I wanted you to know that it's just a joke, in my opinion.
Of Sebastian alive, having dinner with his mom at the Texas Roadhouse Grill. So when Chris said just a moment ago that there was no news in the case, that wasn't accurate. And it raises the question, why would he not consider this news? And if he does consider it news, why would he downplay it and not mention it? And that's not the only inconsistency I heard here. Chris is always insisting that he wants help finding Sebastian. But anytime someone digs into the most obvious suspect, his wife Katie, that's bullshit, according to him. He also claimed he doesn't have a direction he's leaning in, but he criticized Truth for presenting a different one. You can't make that distinction unless you have a direction you're leaning towards. I have more to say about Chris's reaction to Dog the Bounty Hunter, but let's see if there's a more organic place for me to pause and point it out.
Like, they picked that apart for weeks, or well, not weeks, but over a week. I kind of understand why she wouldn't. Anything she does, she rubs her leg and people think something. Like, I kind of understand where she's coming from there.
Who the hell's that back
It's a
there?
lot. People really tear her apart, you guys.
Does anyone know who that is back there?
People, well, hold on, and let me defend something real quick. People tear all of us apart. All of us.
That's facts.
People are tearing people apart in these shows for no reason. Now they're going after a pastor.
That is crazy. That is
Excuse
absolutely
me, like help me understand how.
I can't even understand why they're having this discussion with these people. There's a huge lawsuit going on right now. I never even heard of a RICO before this. I had no idea, no reason to, but there's the head of it right there. And I know this one likes to sue a lot. This one's on YouTube. I don't even know who the hell that is back there. So you asked Doug what was up some time ago and his thoughts. He said, you don't have to leave the house. Doug's stepson is the one that passed away recently. What do you mean you don't have to leave the house? I think Doug was just a tactic keeping some. Yeah, me too. And it works. It does. When Dog comes on, hashtag Dog the Bounty Hunter, you get noticed. People get noticed. The algorithm comes in. But does he physically go out there and find people? I haven't seen that happen in years. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I know it's Chris Proudfoot right there on the bottom left, but who is that behind Deception Detective? Dwayne, Dog, the Bounty Hunter, Chapman's stepson, Gregory Zecca, was arrested and charged with aggravated manslaughter after fatally shooting his 13-year-old son, Anthony, in Florida. Damn. I did not know that. Dang, man. Are we talking about mathematicians here?
Going after a pastor is going to help find Sebastian. How is bashing Seth, Katie, myself, my parents, and God forbid anybody else involved? How is it finding Sebastian? People are people in this world. And guess what? There's not one soul that is perfect. We all have our imperfections.
What does that have to do with
But that's
finding
what makes this
Sebastian?
world go round. Because if it was perfect, it would be very boring. And
that's
people
true.
would not
I
want to
know.
communicate with each other because we're all perfect. But we're not. In return, look, have some compassion.
For
Learn
what?
to accept things. Like, there's answers that we all have want, and we just don't.
Oh, I'm sure you have more answers than any of us do, Chris. But he wants everybody to just shut up and stop paying attention to Sebastian. But he doesn't really care about that necessarily. I think he knows what happened, but he doesn't want us pointing fingers at them, right?
Yet.
Not yet, anyway.
Exactly.
It's pretty concerning that I feel the need to point this out again, but that's Chris Proudfoot speaking. He sounds so eager to move on from Sebastian.
Yes.
He could be forgiven for thinking that he's consoling the panel for their missing child. On your screen now is the leakage card from my deception deck, my 52 favorite rules for spotting lies and manipulation. And when Chris said that there are answers he can't give rather than questions that can't be answered, that may well have been an example of leakage. In fact, lying is so stressful and unreliable that most people who are trying to deceive you simply won't do it. And I actually think that's what's happening here with Chris. For example, he stopped short of saying that Katie's accusers are wrong or lying. In my last video, he simply said that people twist everything she does into the most negative light possible, which, to be fair, you can do with the truth. And now he's basically just pleading for everyone to play nice, regardless of what Katie may or may not have done. It's not a full-throated admission that he knows she did something wrong, but it's definitely not a full-throated denial either.
We want nothing more than to have them. Sebastian to be home. That's what's important here.
Yeah, but you got to understand when
That is interesting, right? I didn't even like think about that this time around. I did not think of that this time around, that they never just said we didn't kill Sebastian. They don't directly ever say that they didn't do something. Wow. All right. And then spotting hoaxes is another one too. I'm sure that will come up, guys. This spotting hoaxes could be across the board with any of the cases that we've been covering or following, right? The hoaxes with Javea Harris, parents call, she's been missing. Guys, she was already gone for a month. Spotting hoaxes. My son disappeared last night. I'm not calling 911 and I'm not out searching, but he just disappeared, right? I'm not even going to get into this whole thing. You guys know what a hoax is by now. A Manuel Haro case. I know.
when there's a missing child and they're, like you said, tearing people apart, when people feel there's inconsistencies in stories, and people are going to dissect that. That's what this sector does.
I know. And the sad part is because the whole story cannot come out.
Right.
Because law enforcement doesn't want things out. You know.
Yep.
There are people out there that want to take one thing and twist it and shove it into a direction which they don't need it to be going, but they're doing it anyways. For what reasons? It ain't my business.
Why don't you speak English and tell us what happened? I know, I agree.
True crime and all these creators out there, they could do, I think, do so much.
This is not true crime, Chris. None of this is true crime. Queen Bee is not true crime. If you were to put her channel on any day of the week, as a matter of fact, I heard that this day in the week, and yesterday, finding out that Seth is suing the sheriff in DCF, there's the biggest foul mouth ever over there on that channel, talking the worst amount of shit. All right? These are not my shooting glasses, but I do use them for shooting, right? Yes, that's Queen Bee up there on the right. And then in the middle, you've got Cluminati that no longer has a YouTube channel because it's so foul. And then you got, what is that? Granny's Watching or something like that? That's suing the crap out of everybody? What? These are not true crime creators, period. All right? Top Middle needs to bleach her toilet. I'm just saying. Yeah, they moved weeks after he went missing. That doesn't even look like her. This is ridiculous.
Amazing things.
Yes. Everybody can. And I've had this conversation with several people. They could do so much better.
How about you?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that.
And instead of just going after each other, and I mean, I've even heard creators going after creators. You know, for their own personal reasons. That's their choice. But when it comes to this community and finding these children, Sebastian,
did we lose you?
I think you cut out.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. But all of these kids that are missing, all these creators can do so much.
Well, and
so
a lot of us do, Chris.
I know, and that's why I'm not bashing.
No,
I'm
I mean,
just saying,
I know
everybody came together. God.
Why is he even talking to them, let alone submitting to this person? What is this? This is not true crime. Yeah, I agree with that. Vile people that have nothing to do with they're all Seth haters. Absolutely. And they let Chris control the narrative. I think that's why he keeps going back there, because this guy can hop up anytime he wants and they'll let him come on the panel and he can put every one of them in check and they'll all sit there for content and say, oh yeah, Chris Proudfoot. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh God, don't even get me started on these people.
It could be an unstoppable force.
I agree.
On your screen now is the ingratiation card from the deception deck. I'm showing it because I think that may be what's going on here. Or maybe it's duper delight, that little rush of endorphins that liars get when they think everyone's eating out of the palm of their hand. Either way, the shifting gears seems manipulative. Just a few minutes ago, Chris was all defensive and challenging. Now he's all charming and kumbaya. So while I can't say exactly what's going on here, I don't think it's a coincidence that Chris launched into this upbeat monologue just as soon as the conversation turned to the inconsistencies and gaps in his story. Let's see if the panel takes the bait, or can they stay objective and put this conversation back on track?
You know, we don't know you. I've never spoken to you ever.
Who are you? I
I'm
don't
sorry,
even know
who
who
am
you
I
are.
talking with?
That's body moving.
Body
Oh,
moving.
I'm so sorry.
Body
No,
moving.
it's totally okay. It's totally okay. Like you don't know me.
Who's
Like it's
body
totally fine.
moving?
It's hard, and people. I'm not doing this, but people do feel the void. They fill it with nonsense.
I know.
With nonsense.
And
It sucks that
because
we can't
and
come out and
because
say certain things either.
no, I
Who
know.
the-
I can't imagine. Like I really
And I
can't.
will say that that is a true statement that Chris just said. Once again,
Look at them.
this
They're all.
isn't. I want to be very clear about my reasoning for this live tonight. Okay,
Who the fuck
it
is
wasn't to bash anybody. I'm absolutely glad, Chris, that you came up here and spoke. Right, I'm not mad.
But they're not a true crime channel at all. So why even try to ingratiate yourself with them? Every time Chris rolls up, they all bow down and freaking start hating on Seth. So I just can't understand. I've heard a body moving, but I'm not sure where that person is. Are they even on YouTube anymore? You said I still have nightmares after chlamydia accidentally showed her stained and black toilet once. Saw it on another's replay. Oh wow. I've heard of that. I also heard that she showed off her hoo-ha. I guess she doesn't wear panties. And when she filmed, she was filming with the tank top and no panties, and we got a hoo-ha shot. Again, not true crime.
At you, I don't have any hostility towards you. Okay,
No,
I thought
I mean, for the record, we do respect each other. So
for sure, for sure we do, and we've always had that. Oh, and to be honest with you, the people in the chat are going to say and do what they're going to do. I think ultimately the issue,
and it's really sad.
It is, but ultimately the issue is that there you say something that really gets under me sometimes, Chris, and that's that you say, well, it's our personal life, we don't want to talk about it, but y'all came to social media asking for social media's help. You know what I mean?
Not
And with
yours.
that,
Asking
there
for
are
help is
questions-
one thing, but
Yeah,
being
but
torn
that's
apart is
different,
another.
bro.
Well, hold on. let me
That's
finish.
different. They
Hold
came to social media to ask for help looking for their son, not
to solve a case.
not CPS
Right.
reports.
That's-
And
Can anyone else tell that someone doesn't have their teeth in their mouth? Because I can. Every time somebody talks like that, and that's a perfect point. Cat, love this. Who are these people? I can't see their faces. Good question. It's not a lisp. It's not having their teeth in. Straight up. I know the difference, and I hear the difference. Straight up, don't have your teeth in your mouth. That's why we don't see their faces, and they're not cammed up. All right. So you know what? That's perfect. Who are these people? I can't see their faces. Me either. Yeah, she forgot to put her teeth in.
I mean, come on.
Right here.
Pop quiz. What do Chris Proudfoot, Don Wells, John Ramsey, and Jerry McCann all have in common? They all publicly begged for help to find their missing kid. But when people started actually helping in ways they didn't anticipate, like investigating the obvious suspects and pulling CPS reports, instead of just wandering the fields in high-vis vests or donating money to their fund, they got cold feet. Elevated Truth said it best. If you ask social media for help, that's what you get. If you then try to control that help or stifle it, it goes right back to my point about contradictions. In other words, the implication is you're more interested in having the appearance of looking for answers than actually getting them. I've actually experienced this myself. I have over 100,000 subscribers. That's a pretty decent sized audience. And I've done 5 videos about Sebastian Rogers and invited Chris and Katie for an interview in every single one. Do you think I've heard back? And what about Dog the Bounty Hunter joining the case? Does Chris seem excited about that or eager to get involved or grateful? Not from what we've seen so far in this interview.
Last time I checked, there's not one show where we came onto a show or myself came onto a show and turned it into a bash session. I didn't do that.
What?
Not gonna do it. And
Oh, that has happened. It's already happened. And I'm sure it was happening. Well, I heard it was happening on Queen Bee's panel since we found out that Seth is suing DCS and the sheriff. But what does that have to do with Chris and Katie? He's not pointing the fingers at them, and the lawsuit isn't either. So why bash Seth for trying to get trying to keep the case alive for his son? What are they mad about? What do they think that we're going to find? What do they think that they're going to find? Right? What are they mad for? That makes zero sense.
frankly, I'm pretty confident when I say this. It's team, let's find Sebastian. Let's bring him home. I don't care about the BS.
Yeah,
I
you
don't.
do. Then stop going on those
But
channels.
bringing our kid home is the most important thing to all three parents.
Bringing
Once
our
again,
kid home. Doesn't
all
say his
three
name.
of us.
Bringing our kid home.
Let me ask you this, Chris. Is there any way, and I understand if the answer is no, is there any way that there can be a work together between the parents anymore? Is that so far gone that it can't happen?
I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to cut that off. Because quite honestly, if that's what it takes to bring Sebastian
No,
home,
I would never do that.
then that's what we need to do.
Absolutely.
But I'm pretty sure there would have to be some sort of an agreement between the three parents.
So what can we do, or is there anything we can do as a community to help with that happening?
You're not in the community, buddy.
Yes, and it's not going to happen. And I respect the fact that you asked it. The bashing has to stop. Period.
So you think that if the bashing stops, both against you and Katie and against Seth, that there would be a
everyone.
Right.
Everyone.
Well, my point is, if that were to occur, are you saying that you would be willing to sit down with you, Katie, Seth, and talk things out?
We'd have it would be tough. Don't get me wrong.
It could be needy.
He's doing way too much. This is not a true crime channel. You're not a therapist. All you do is smoke a bunch of weed all day and bully people. What? And if it's true, Holly says, and the cops aren't looking, why is Katie okay with that? Well, like we said, look at the other circumstances in this case. Now, you don't have to ask that question then, right? I mean, like he's a manager of YouTube, right? They all lick his asshole when he comes in, by the way. Excuse my language, but that's what it feels like here.
Though. I mean,
I
right?
would say
Like,
a mediation could be involved.
I think that would be really beneficial. I really.
Why are they're so full of shit? Not all they do is bash Seth. How are they going to do a mediation with these people? BS.
That's a beautiful statement. That is a beautiful fucking statement, and I hope there's some thought put into that.
I mean, like I said, I told Seth
right
the day at that school. You know, when everybody thought I was going to do a nasty little argument, it never happened. It was a very calm, respected talk between us two.
Ooh. Message me, NorCal.
Do I think there is a way that things can change and work? Sure. But there has to be a lot of change to be done.
He doesn't want your guys' help, right?
I would agree with you on that.
Or
But I'm glad to hear that you're not closed off to that,
they
because I think 10 months into this, I mean, what's been occurring isn't working. Would you agree?
Yeah, but you have to admit truth. Actions, like words. In my opinion, Chris has already proved that working with Seth was not off the table a long effing time ago. Seth,
put your teeth in your mouth, ma'am. Working with Seth, I don't think Chris working with Seth is off the table. It sure is. They don't want to look Seth in the face and tell them that they don't know what happened to Sebastian. Bottom line, all right? This is bullshit. Yeah, besides the fact of the DV charges from the ex-wife and the CPS charges and the cases, come on. Put suffer and succotash. Put your teeth in.
the one who reneged on that. Period.
Well, hold on. Here's my
I
point.
won't defend that. I'm sorry. Like
Right, but here's my point to what I'm
not
saying.
gonna defend
Is that
that.
now it's being said on a platform that if y'all stop with the bashing, then they could possibly sit down and talk.
When Chris was given the chance to ask for anything, he didn't ask for leads. He didn't ask for prayers or donations or tips.
Nothing.
He didn't ask for any kidnappers who might have Sebastian to
Not
please return him,
bashing men.
or for Sebastian to come home on the off chance that he's watching this live stream right now. Instead, Chris's requests seem to be focused around moving on with his life. If he and Katie are going to ever have their happily ever after, they can't have Seth holding a grudge with them or social media people continuing to look into them. In other words, Chris's response here is even worse than this paraphrase that I put on X. He's basically saying, help me find my missing kid, but stop asking me questions, stop presenting theories, and for God's sake, stop looking.
My point to what I'm saying
You hear
is
that?
that now it's being said on a platform
Where's Katie?
that if y'all stop with the bashing, then they could possibly sit down and talk. And if
So why do
you
we
care,
have
hold
to
on, if you care about Sebastian,
Fuck that. Seth is grown, bro.
To
That's
say
a
that
grown
all of
man.
YouTube needs to
Can I
stop bashing
finish?
for these three adults to put their egos aside and work. Don't put that shit on us.
Well, hold on.
Don't do what you have to do
Right,
for
like,
Sebastian. Don't put it
can-
on us.
May I please
What the fuck are you guys talking about?
So I hear what Granny is saying, and I've heard a lot of what the other creators and actually quite all the creators have said, done, whatever, and each other have put quite a bit of each other through, to be honest with you. You know, no, I would not say that the three of us working together should have anything to do with
He's not going to work with
YouTube
him.
creators on their own channels doing their own thing.
Agreed.
We don't have any grounds to control that. We are not parents of creators. Never going to be, not going to try to be one.
What are you
That's
doing?
not an option.
Why are you on their
everybody's an adult and
platform?
everybody was responsible for what they choose to do.
Right.
Hey,
And it's just not
Lolo.
realistic. Is really what I was saying. Like, it's not.
No,
realistic.
it's not. I
And
mean,
there
don't get
has
me
to be
wrong.
a
The
realistic goal.
stuff that has happened, you know, court documents, which, you know, I'm still so lost a lot on, but all of this stuff that's flying out there, like, okay, that's for me, Katie and Seth. The only thing I can personally ask is if the bashing would just please stop.
Bashing for who? For you? The bashing for you and
Stop
Katie?
bringing people into things that have nothing to do with anything.
Well, why are you on their panel? Because they're the worst of the
It
worst.
doesn't make any sense.
It sure doesn't.
But
suffering succotash.
With creators, they choose what they want to do. That's their shows. That's for some of them. That's their livelihood.
And what are we talking about, sir?
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
This is not true
I mean,
crime.
unfortunately, is like it's unfortunate that
People
like
are out of their mind.
a child being missing is part of how someone. And it's not just children. It's true crime within itself is very interesting.
This is
And
not true
There's
crime.
a fine line. You know what I mean? There's a real fine line, and that's not the point of conversation. You know, and let me say something, and without getting interrupted, please, by everybody. I am very aware that my point of view on this situation is not the popular one on quote this side, right? And y'all can have an issue with what I'm saying.
Because everybody he thinks is a pedo and a chomo. Is he projecting that? Why is everyone that he comes across possibly a child abuser? I just can't understand that. And who even are you?
But at the end of the day, I'm always going to try to make conversation happen, right? And conversation has to happen in order for people to talk, right? And so you don't have to like what I'm saying. You don't have to like my point of view. I really could give a shit less. But conversation is how you get things settled. When me and Chris have had an issue, what have we done? Chris, we've gotten on the call and talked, right?
Yeah.
What are you even talking about?
For
What about
example, when you and I have had an issue, what do? We get on the phone, we talk,
We
right?
talk about
We
it.
fucking scream, but sure, if it's
All right.
talking to you.
Right, yeah, we'll do that.
Plenty more bombshells in this interview.
We fucking scream at each other, suffering succotash. What is this conversation? I bet you he didn't even think anyone was gonna pick up on that conversation and be playing it. He thought he was back in the YouTube dirty dirt streets, that we were never gonna see this. I hope this is used against them later on in this case. Absolutely ridiculous. Put your teeth in.
But I will have to fast forward. If you want a part 3, let's get this video to 50,000 views. For my Seth Rogers analysis, click the video on your screen now. Stay.
All right, DD, we love you. We're gonna bring this forward to a year ago today. Well, it gets worse. Katie's trying to cry. Katie uses Sebastian in the past tense, and then we will be done. But I do want to play this. I want you guys to see the last interview with Deception Detective. He's done so many interviews that we could go over. We'd be here for 12 hours. But yeah, suffer and succotash. We find it out. I can't even handle that. Put your teeth in. Put those teeth in, lady.
My son was when he went to bed, December 7th.
Past tense.
He turned 16.
He would have turned 16, but she doesn't want to say that because she's telling us Sebastian is dead. Sorry, but that's just how it is. She used it in the past tense. Sheriff Craddock, no nads, trying to look for a size 14 chomo. Just a thought. Oh yeah. Whose channel is this? It's on Deception Detectives. I wouldn't even pull it from theirs. Never. I'm not pulling it from theirs.
And they should be home for that.
That's Katie Proudfoot, and I think she knows what happened to her missing son, Sebastian Rogers. And it's not just because of slip-ups like that where she talks about him in the past tense. Mainly it's because of the things she doesn't say in her interviews. So in today's video, let's watch her most recent TV interview, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit like and subscribe. For early access to new videos, exclusive videos, and other perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. Even if you're not familiar with this case or haven't seen the other videos in my Sebastian Rogers playlist, there's no need to worry because the interview we're about to analyze contains some news clips that will bring you up to speed. So there's
And we are up to speed. If you guys missed that at the beginning of the episode, please go back and rewatch. Right? This is the latest interview, TV interview from Katie, and then we'll move on. Again, Sebastian Rogers still missing 872 days later. Seth is suing the sheriff's department and DCS for ignoring these warning signs before Sebastian disappeared and then closing the case. All right. You don't close the case when you've got a child that's still missing.
just one thing I want to recap before we grab our deception decks and start analyzing Katie. And that's the 7 things I look for when I'm analyzing the parent of a missing child on TV. And coincidentally, I went over those in one of my earliest videos covering this case, where I analyzed Katie and her husband Chris doing a TV interview. And even back then, they didn't do any of these things. So here's what we look for. We want the parents to speak about the kid in the present tense. We want the parents to be cooperative. So if they get asked a question, they do their best to answer the question and not over answer, right? So they answer what they're asked, but they're not trying to push a narrative.
Now, guys, think of it this way, because I know it's hard to compare it to nothing, right? It's hard to compare it to nothing. But let's just pretend that Nancy Guthrie was, in fact, kidnapped. If she was kidnapped, then you take what Savannah and family has done in keeping mom in the present tense, cooperating with everything, media, law enforcement, however they want them to address the kidnapper, and actually addressing the kidnapper. Now, Nancy Guthrie addressed the kidnapper, or Savannah. She addressed her mom, that would be substituting for the child, asking for help, and call into action. All of those things would be done and have been done by Savannah Guthrie and team. None of this has been done by these people. All right. It's actually quite the opposite. Let's continue. Let's just push that forward. We know about that. No calling 911. Instead, he called his buddy asking for help. He asks not for help, but to stop bashing him. He never addresses Sebastian. He says that kid or the boy, or he doesn't use his name. They never address a kidnapper. Their statements are all over the place. I've showed you 3 different comparisons where they lie and change. And they lie because they change their story. And every chance they get, they use the past tense of Sebastian.
The kid did that. It's a red flag. 4th, if the kid is missing and the parents are on TV, we can expect them to address a kidnapper. So even if they're not sure the kid was kidnapped, they don't know what actually happened. So we can expect them to at least look into the camera and say, if you have my son, Sebastian, please return him to us. We won't pursue you. Just drop him off at a police station. 5th, we can expect parents to address the child through the camera. Since they don't know what happened to their kid, for all they know, the kid is watching. So they'll take that opportunity to speak to the kid. Sebastian, we know you're out there. If you're watching this, we love you. We're going to find you. 6th, the parents ask for help. That's the entire point of these appearances.
Right.
If the parents don't ask for help, it means A, that they might know the kid is beyond any help. They might know the kid is already dead. Or it might mean they have an ulterior motive. They're not necessarily doing this interview to help find their kid. They're doing it to push a narrative.
Oh yeah, the whole time it's been a narrative for all the channels. I'm going to keep going because we know this. All right. Let's see what he has to say. Get back into Katie.
Actually know what happened. So it doesn't occur to them in the first place. All right, without further ado, let's listen to Katie.
The last time I saw my son was when he went to bed.
Tonight marks 1 year since Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his home near Beach High School in Sumner County. He's 16 now, but there are still no confirmed sightings or leads in the case.
Fox 17 News' Kelly Avellino sat down with Rogers' mother, Katie Proudfoot, in the search for her son and the ongoing public scrutiny surrounding this investigation.
A voice and an exuberant smile that have been missing for a year that Sebastian Rogers has gone without his favorite things.
Cats are the number one. He loves animals, almost all animals.
Animals, video games, books, and any chance in the pool.
He loves water. He swims like a fish.
Sebastian also missed his birthday.
December 7th. He would have.
Right there again, that's twice in just a few minutes. He would have been, right? He was 15. He would now be 17, guys. All right. So she goes and uses them in the past tense again. In my opinion, the reason she closes her eyes when retelling this story is because it's a story and it's been inconsistent the entire time. Right. I showed you that earlier with the different messages and things that came across. NorCal, when you add up all the flags, Sebastian's case just boggles the mind. I just don't get it. Other than screwed up investigation on day one. Well, yeah, I mean, look at the out-of-date photos, right? We talked about that earlier. He would have been seen. Eye blocking. She's recalling her story. That's why she knows she's been inconsistent multiple times, and we all know that. But let's just pretend like I'm not, and I'll close my eyes and tell you a story.
He turned 16, and he should be home for that.
As I said in the intro, it's not a great sign that Katie talks about Sebastian in the past tense, even if it's just a slip up every now and then. And that's because we always speak based on what we know. So if a mother knows that her son is dead or believes that he's dead for some reason, it often slips out through her words. And Katie actually looked like she was aware that she was doing it and puffed and almost made a big deal about correcting herself. So does this mean that she killed Sebastian and she knows something happened to him? No, not necessarily, but we're just taking note of it. It's even a card in the deception deck. And that's because Susan Smith in 1996 famously talked about her sons in the past tense, when at the time, just like Sebastian, they were just missing. So even though we're only 1 minute into this heavily edited interview, we already have Katie violating the first rule on my missing presser checklist, talking about the kid in the past tense.
December 7th. He would
have been.
He turned 16, and he should be home for that.
But Sebastian, who has autism, hasn't been home.
Again, mind you, the pictures that went out there were of him being a little boy with puppies. He loves dogs. He loves coloring. Guys, let's be real. He was 15 years old. He had to have been doing something that pissed Chris off or getting out of hand to punch him in the stomach, to have 2 CPS cases against Chris or Katie with him. He didn't just sit there loving puppies and coloring. What else was Sebastian doing that made you upset? How did he get out of pocket? Did he talk back? I mean, let's just be real. All children do that. So tell us what he did so we can understand it better.
Since February of last year. After dinner at the Texas Roadhouse on the 25th, Katie says she and her son went home.
Did anything happen the night he went missing that was caused him to run away? Was he punished in any way? An argument? Just a normal night?
It was a normal night. It was a calm night.
That turned tumultuous by the next morning.
When I went in his room and
yes, it is.
He wasn't there. He wasn't in his bed.
Katie says she frantically searched the house and drove around the neighborhood at 6:30 a.m. until she and Sebastian's stepfather, who says he was awake.
Now, mind you, the neighbors say that's not true at all, guys. If you missed the beginning of the show, I highly recommend you go back and watch it and look at the 9 things that I found and 10 things that I found on an overview. First, no public plea for the abductor, lack of visible search effort, no clear explanation why they didn't check on him, the alarm system issue, the behaviors during the interviews, changing theories over time, the first interview with the hands, and lie detector test confusion and inconsistencies about the night Sebastian disappeared, as well as moving out weeks after Sebastian went missing. Not to mention the times that they didn't go to any of the vigils or memorials, none of that. Instead, they went out shopping for Harleys and reptiles.
For work at the time, called police.
There's lots of problems here, but they really all boil down to one thing, that Katie isn't being cooperative, which is another item on our checklist. In fact, she seems to be going in order of the checklist. And by uncooperative, I mean she's not actually answering the questions that she's being asked, which you'd expect her to do because these are questions that allow her to provide us with information to go help find her missing kid. For example, the journalist asked her about the night Sebastian went missing. And what did Katie say? Well, she didn't actually answer the question. Instead, she sat there silently until the journalist hopped in to break the silence and provided the answer for her.
Right?
It was the journalist who said, well, was it a normal night? And then Katie repeated that answer. Moreover, the one other detail she provided, that it was calm, is vague, which is another thing that liars typically are. They're vague because if they have a co-conspirator, they need to line up their stories together.
Yep.
So they don't want to give too many
It's a
concrete
story.
details because they might tell different stories and get exposed. Or they just never thought of the details in the first place. Finally, Katie did another thing that was uncooperative and a hallmark of liars who are trying to conceal information. She told us what she didn't see in Sebastian's bedroom instead of what she did see. For example, were the bed sheets tussled like someone had pulled him out of bed? Or was the bed neatly made like he'd never actually crawled into bed?
Yeah, this lacks so many details that we don't know, right? So many details that we don't know. All we know is like, hey, this, we got home. This, I heard a thud. This, I woke up in the morning to wake him up and he wasn't there. There's so many lack of details. And then the inconsistencies between the two and the storytelling. You can tell it's a story when they're reliving it and retelling it in an unnatural way.
That night. Was the window open? Was his door open? Was the light switch flicked on like he'd brazenly left in the middle of the night? Or was it flicked off like he tried to sneak out? We don't know. All she told us is what she didn't see. Again, does this
Right.
mean that she's guilty? No, not necessarily. But by this point, I've been analyzing them for a year. And I think that Katie does know what happened to Sebastian, even if she doesn't know exactly where he is right now. I won't rehash my full theory here, but I'll link that video at the end of this one if you want to check it out next. Okay, let's keep listening.
Days later, investigators combed through a landfill 2 hours away, still saying they had found nothing.
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it out.
We're not ruling anything out.
For the next year, any activity involving Sebastian's case would fuel droves of online followers and even a restraining order against one YouTuber.
There were quite a bit of people that were, sending some very threatening and hateful messages to us.
What would you say to those people?
Just stop.
Fox 17 News sent the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the lead agency in the investigation, a list of questions in anticipation of this story, including asking if there are any new leads, what kind of evidence detectives have vetted, and if investigators still believe there is no indication of foul play. Sheriff Eric Craddock responded in an email saying, "This is an active and ongoing investigation. We continue to work with our state and federal partners. We will continue to seek a resolution in this case."
What do you believe happened to Sebastian?
Unfortunately, over the last year, I have thought.
That is not what she asked her. I like how every time she asked her a question, it's like, okay, it's all out. All right, let's get back to the lying. All right, deep breath. Okay, don't answer the question. Avoid it. Walk around it. Tell us something else.
Every single day, night, every moment of every possibility of something that could happen to him, where he could have gone.
What do you think
if he had
happened
gone
to
with
him?
someone, if someone took him willingly, unwillingly, if
not
he'd
gonna tell
run
you.
away and got lost, if he'd
Unfortunately.
a million different things. And unfortunately, I don't know.
When this interview first came out a month ago, lots of my subscribers told me that they thought Katie had been watching my videos and adapting what she said in interviews to match my list. And that might be the case. But the problem is lying is hard. It's really hard. For example, she just said that she doesn't know what happened. And it maybe Sebastian ran away, maybe he was taken. All the things I said innocent parents should say, right? All options should be on the table if you don't know what happened. And there's no evidence to suggest one scenario over another. But the problem is, just like any bad scriptwriter or actress, Katie is telling, not showing. In other words, if she really thought it was possible that Sebastian might have been kidnapped, why is she not addressing any potential kidnappers? She's on TV right now. Katie never addresses him through the camera either, saying something like, "Sebastian, if you're out there, dial 911. Mommy and daddy are looking for you." So when I say lying is hard, that's what I mean. Acting is easy. Faking body language stuff is easy. Actually writing the script for something that you're not actually experiencing is very hard. That's why even blockbuster movies with multiple scriptwriters, continuity proofreaders, etc., still have plot holes.
Unfortunately, I don't know.
How many times did you say unfortunately? Should I run a script on this and see? The unfortunately and the way her demeanor reminds me that she wants to say, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. All right. She does act according to how she thinks she should act. It isn't genuine. Definitely not. Definitely not. How is she not hysterical? We're all hysterical over her kid, but Katie didn't report him as a runaway. No, she didn't. Hey, Denise. She wouldn't give us, she's not giving us anything. And I don't know how that can go unnoticed by law enforcement for 2.5 years.
But Katie and a private investigator she retained believe this piece of surveillance video taken the night that Sebastian went missing could be a lead in the case.
12:17.
Oh, Steve
A
Fisher.
couple 100 yards away, there's a figure.
The Sumner County Sheriff said the video has no relevance to the case, but the Proudfoots aren't dismissing it until the identity of the person is confirmed by investigators. Unfortunately, any possible break in Sebastian's case has gone nowhere.
No child goes poof. He's somewhere.
Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, has also endured a year without his son.
Sebastian, son.
Seth brought in a team offering their own reward of $347,000. That's on top of the FBI's $50,000 reward.
To stop looking is to give up hope.
They finally changed those pictures to more current ones. And yes, 5150 means crazy by California code. They never have been looking either. That's the problem, but nobody's doing anything about it. Remember, guys, Seth is not, I repeat, Seth is not attacking or suing Chris and Katie Proudfoot. These are what this is the steps he's taking for CPS and the sheriff's office for not doing a proper investigation and closing the CPS case after Sebastian went missing. And another case 3 days later, after it was open, they closed it and they didn't tell his biological father, which they should have, about the case.
Hope that's still evident among volunteer searchers.
I'm not going to stop.
Missing signs and ribbons in Sebastian's favorite color.
And God, right now we're seeking you to reveal the truth to us.
Katie says detectives searching for that truth left no question unasked.
Lie detectors.
Yes.
For yourself
and my husband.
Which Katie says they passed. We don't know what investigators say about the test, but Katie says they have searched her home.
Thoroughly, many times. Cadavers, searchers.
What do police tell you at this point? What do they think?
Unfortunately, that they have zero evidence.
Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. Just tell us, Katie. All right? Poor Seth. I have cried for him and Sebastian. Unfortunately, he just ran away in February without shoes, right? Letitia never looked for Gannon and didn't want her face to be shown in that interview. Right? She was like, what's the it from the Addams Family with her hair in her face talking? What's up, CB? Good to see you, my friend. All right, let's continue. We're almost done here, guys.
Zero trace of the boy with a smile that's
Zero
imprinted
trace.
on countless hearts, especially, Katie says, on her own.
I would just like...
Again, a memorial tattoo for your son that isn't dead. What are we memorizing? What is this in memory of? And guys, I assure you, this is a memorial tattoo. All right. She says that it's for Sebastian. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. So I have a memorial tattoo. I wish she would say that. She doesn't.
I would just like to tell my son that I love him and to know that we are never going to stop searching.
So a lost smile can be found. Anyone who believes they may have seen Sebastian Rogers should immediately call 1-800-TBI-FIND or the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. There is a vigil for Sebastian this Saturday, March 1st.
And they don't go to that either.
First at 2 p.m. at the Celebration of Life Church in Hendersonville. And we will certainly continue to update you on any information we learn in his case. I'm Kelly Avellino.
And voila, Kelly Avellino, the journalist, did what Katie hasn't done in multiple interviews. She actually asked the public to help look for Sebastian and gave us a call to action, a number to call if we do spot him. And since my audience is so smart, I know you're probably thinking, hey, DD, didn't Katie just address Sebastian? Well, not really. Once again, it's showing, not telling. First of all, it wasn't spontaneous. It looks like the journalist asked her, what would you say to Sebastian if you could talk to him? And then that's how she answered. She didn't look into the camera and address Sebastian directly. She said, I would tell him. It's the difference, for example, between saying, I love you and saying, hey, tell my kid that I love them. Only one is a direct address.
And they're asking for a direct address. And she says, well, I would say, like she's relaying a message through someone. There's many reasons why they needed Sebastian gone. cry of guilt. Because we're going to allow Sebastian to cause him problems, in my opinion. All right, let's wrap this up. I got one more clip for you. So for those of you that came in late, Tiff Knox, some of you other folks, missing teens' fathers at DCS had warning signs. They're letting out bits and pieces of this at a time, like they did in the Maddie Soto case. So let me finish this, and then I'll put that on, and then we're out.
Finally, I saved my most granular point for last. As you can see here, even the news station that posted this video quoted Katie saying, "We're never going to stop searching," which is a great thing to say if you finish it up with saying, "We're never going to stop searching until we find our son," because that would imply that you know he might be out there to be found. If you simply say that we're never going to stop searching, that's a different story. That sounds more like OJ, who said he's never going to stop searching for Nicole's actual killer, or any other number of proven hoaxers we've analyzed on the channel who say they're never going to stop searching for the real culprit or their missing kid, or in the case of Scott Peterson, his missing wife and kid. Want more Sebastian Rogers? Let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing this video. Until next time, stay tuned.
All right, guys, you guys know the drill. This is coverage for Sebastian. It doesn't happen often now that we're 2.5 years in, but hopefully there's more coverage and more things will start to come out in this case. So we're going to wrap this up with a clip that just came out 41 minutes ago. And it says, missing teen's father says DCF had warning signs. This is a different clip. Hadn't played. It just came out. Hit the like button, guys. Subscribe if you're new. Share this. And if you get a chance, hype the video, please. And then tomorrow, we'll be back at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right, let's roll out.
Father claims in a second federal lawsuit. WSMV Investigates first broke the news that the father is also suing the Sumner County Sheriff's Department. Allegedly, they didn't properly investigate his son's disappearance. And this second lawsuit targets the Tennessee Department of Children's Services. Speaking exclusively with WSMV4 investigative reporter Stacey Cameron, Rogers says he learned only after Sebastian disappeared that DCS had twice investigated his son and failed to tell him what was going on.
Wouldn't anybody else say the same thing if their children were missing and this happened right here? That's a big piece. That's a key piece right there that they just filed away. All right. So he's suing the sheriff's office and CPS or DCS. When someone said in here just a minute ago, I hope he sues him. He is suing them. He's got 2 lawsuits out right now against CPS or DCS and the sheriff's office.
For nearly 2.5 years, Seth Rogers has searched for answers about what happened to his son. Now he says he's also searching for answers about something that happened before Sebastian disappeared. According to this newly filed federal lawsuit, DCS investigated Sebastian twice, but closed both cases. And Rogers says he was kept in the dark. That left him with a question he can't escape. If he had known everything DCS knew, would Sebastian be safe with him today?
What did I do for him not to tell me that he was scared? I'm supposed to protect him.
It's the question Seth Rogers says he asks himself every day. Not whether he could have found Sebastian, but whether he could have protected him. The lawsuit claims DCS investigated allegations involving Sebastian in 2022, then again in 2023, before closing both cases without removing him from the Hendersonville home where he lived. If DCS had talked to you, what would they have learned?
He can come live with me.
Rogers says no one at DCS told him about the extent of those investigations. No one warned him about the abuse allegations. And he says that left him with a pain no one can imagine.
You don't have any clue. Nobody does.
Attorney Darren Ritchie says that's why they filed this lawsuit. Why would DCS leave Seth Rogers in the dark?
That is unexplainable, and it's unacceptable.
The lawsuit claims DCS documented that Sebastian told investigators he felt safe.
I really do hope that this goes further. All right. I really hope that the lawyer that we see on the TV or on the screen right now has integrity and he does this with as much grace as possible. I do not want to see another shit show about Sebastian, him coming out. And I hope he doesn't start entertaining these people that are bashing, et cetera, because that will really bring this case in a very negative light. It's already been in, but we want it to go the opposite. So please, dear lawyer, have integrity and grace when covering this case. Do not respond to the assholes.
With his father. It also alleges the agency determined Sebastian met the criteria for a federal program reserved for children considered at serious or imminent risk of removal from their home, but closed both investigations. Richie says, had Rogers known everything DCS was looking at, this story might look very different today.
I don't think that we would be here today talking if they spoke with Seth Rogers. I think Seth would have corroborated how Sebastian was feeling, and I think this would have taken a very different turn.
Did anyone ever tell you Sebastian had been considered at serious risk of removal from that home?
Nope.
Then came the moment he says changed everything. Rogers hired a lawyer, got the DCS investigative files, and read it for himself.
They failed my son. They didn't try to protect him at all.
The lawsuit alleges DCS overlooked warning signs, failed to adequately protect a vulnerable child with autism, ADHD, and a rare chromosomal disorder, and denied Seth Rogers the opportunity to intervene before Sebastian disappeared. Rogers says that's the part.
Now, I wonder if they, and this is, I haven't speculated until right now in this episode. I've speculated before on the case. However, wonder if they were getting him, they had to do it then, that night. They needed to make sure that the CPS, the reports weren't going to go through, and without Sebastian, they closed the case. Again, Chris has friends in that area, and I can't imagine any other reason why, when a child's gone missing for that long, never to be found, you wouldn't hear about this. Him being removed from the home, possibly 2 times before he disappeared. Guys, anybody would use that as a case against them to at least look a little closer into the parents. They were the last person that was seen with Sebastian. Although Chris says he wasn't home,
he struggles with the most.
All these things hurt. All of them hurt. I don't know what's going on with my child. I just know that he's not where he should be.
And the lawsuit raises another question. Seth Rogers had joint custody of Sebastian. His attorney says that meant DCS had a legal duty to keep him informed so he could take action to protect his son if necessary. I asked DCS whether it lived up to that responsibility. The agency declined an interview, saying it doesn't discuss specific cases or comment on pending litigation. For WSMV4, I'm investigative reporter Stacey Cameron.
All right, guys, that will do it. We've been here for 2 hours and 36 minutes. On that note, we want justice for Sebastian, and whatever that means, whatever's coming next, let's support Seth in his journey to keep his son in the light, and take a second look at these parents. All right, missing 872 days. Timeline conflicts, odd behavior, contradicting interviews, no evidence found, inconsistent stories, moved weeks later, polygraph confusion, contradictions for over 2 years, and a mother that works at an alarm company yet didn't have an alarm or any type of video footage from that day only, right? Immediately when a child goes missing, CPS investigation starts. Yeah, but it doesn't in this case. All right, so let's just say a prayer, justice for Sebastian, and thanks to Seth for pushing this forward. Whatever's going to happen, let it be with integrity that it happens, all right? On that note, thank you guys for the super chat, super stickers, and all the support. I'll be back here again tomorrow, same time, 4 p.m. California time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Good night, guys. Love you. Thank you.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?